Breaking news shattered the calm of the evening, announcing the tragic death of S-class mage Liao Jun while battling the evil dragon Cruis in the center of Seoul. At just 25 years old, Liao had become a beloved figure since his rise in 2034, prompting the nation to plan memorials in his honor. In a dark room, a young man sat in stunned silence as he turned off the TV, disbelief coursing through him. How could the story's protagonist die now? He slumped onto the sofa, horror etched on his face, grappling with the grim reality. Just days prior, he had mourned the loss of Lee Seo-jun, a genius mage and a national hero. The young man's mind raced as he recalled that Seo-jun was the star of The Modern Wizard, the very novel that shaped their world. He had always believed the story would lead to a happy ending and his return home. But with the unexpected clash of darkness and the protagonist's demise, everything had changed. Anxiety gripped him as he pondered the threat to his own fate in this unpredictable world. As his hopes of seeing his friends again after the novel's end faded, the young man's mind drifted back to a crowded bar scene. His friend had posed a hypothetical question about reincarnating as an extra character in a novel. Would one monopolize all the hidden benefits? Opinions had been divided. One girl had confidently claimed she would, while Kim Sun-woo dismissed the idea as madness. He argued that interfering could lead to death at the hands of the protagonist, resulting in an immediate game over. He also expressed doubts about his ability to endure the protagonist's challenges, a point his friends acknowledged with playful sarcasm. They raised their glasses to toast his realistic yet annoying remarks. In that moment, his phone vibrated in his pocket. Curious, he pulled it out to find a notification revealing he had won an event, much to his friend's surprise. The message, from the novel's author, congratulated him and offered a ticket to a special place with an option to accept or decline. His friends excitedly speculated it was a tourist trip, viewing it as a stroke of luck. Though he wondered if the destination was overseas, he pressed the accept button, marking the moment 7 years ago when everything changed. Suddenly, he found himself falling into a magic circle, transported into the very novel he cherished, The Modern Wizard. Now, the young man sat, clutching his head in confusion and pain, unable to comprehend how the story had twisted so abruptly. He had always been careful not to alter the original course of events, choosing to observe the main story from a distance to preserve the plot's integrity. Lost in thought, the young man noticed the TV screen before him distorting and emitting strange sparks, filling him with intense astonishment. He stood up, questioning the reason behind the sudden malfunction. Just as he formed the thought, the glass cracked and a blinding light erupted, causing him to scream in terror as he witnessed reality fracturing around him. His eyes widened in shock as his body began to fade into the light. He screamed, questioning why this disaster was occurring just as red system windows appeared before him, announcing the devastating news. Liao Jun had died, resulting in the failure of all main scenarios. The system proclaimed the start of a world reset, leaving the young man bewildered and unable to comprehend the implications. Moments later, the world around him shattered like a broken mirror, and his consciousness faded amidst the scattered fragments. Suddenly, a sharp voice pierced the silence of darkness, urging him to wake up because he had arrived at the academy. He opened his eyes to find himself inside a bus, the driver impatiently shouting at him for being late to get off, despite their arrival some time ago. Confused, he jumped from his seat, apologizing, and was halted by the driver calling him student. He awoke disoriented on a bus, confused about how he had arrived there. Shielding his eyes from the bright sunlight, he found himself in front of Korea Magic Academy, adorned with banners for the entrance ceremony of 2032, 7 years after his graduation. In disbelief, he noticed he was wearing a school uniform and realized he had somehow returned to the past. As he entered the grand hall, loudspeakers welcomed students and instructed them to take their places. Moving through the crowd, he felt dizzy, grappling with the strangeness of the situation and confirming that he had indeed returned 7 years into the past. As he tried to comprehend the situation, the most pressing question jumped to his mind. Why did Lai Jun die in the future? He remembered that, according to the original novel, there was no logical reason for his death during that battle. The dragon Cruis and its rampage were following the original flow of events, and the protagonist was supposed to succeed in suppressing it after a desperate fight. His expression shifted to one of seriousness and suspicion. He concluded that there must be another hidden reason behind the protagonist's death that was not mentioned in the story. Weary, he slumped onto a seat in the middle of the hall and whispered to himself in despair that he had no answers for what was happening. Meanwhile, Kim Sun-woo sat in the hall, contemplating the dire consequences that would arise if Lee Seo-jun died in this life as well. He wondered anxiously whether he would return to the past again or if the world would end completely this time. One indisputable truth emerged in his mind. Lee Seo-jun must not die at any cost. Clenching his fist with determination, he realized he needed to take actual and effective steps in this life, even if his only goal was to return to his original world. He looked intently at Lee Seo-jun at the front and resolved to prevent his death, no matter the cost. Kim Sun-woo decided to get close to the main characters, so he waved to the girl sitting beside him, greeting her with a friendly smile. This girl was Yahello, ranked second in the second year. She looked at him coldly and asked if he knew her, muttering disapprovingly about his behavior as if they were already acquainted. Confused by her sharpness, he responded that he had nothing to say, stammering. Annoyed, she turned her face away and told him to look elsewhere, as his staring made her uncomfortable. He smiled nervously while wiping sweat from his forehead, realizing that getting close to these elites would not be easy at all. His thoughts were interrupted by an announcement calling for the class representatives to ascend to the platform. 3 students went up amidst whispers and admiration from the audience. Eyes focused on Lee Seo-jun, the top student in the second year, as everyone praised his impressive aura and direct training under Chairman Kim Jin-chul. Lee Seo-jun was well known not just as a student, but also for his role in the novel The Modern Wizard, which revolved around a superpowered hero who achieved everything alone. The top female student from the first year soon joined the others, drawing attention with her striking beauty. However, Kim Sun-woo, drawing from his experience, recognized that her smile was carefully crafted, as her true goal was direction and control. The third student on the platform was a senator, the reigning top student for 3 consecutive years, who surprisingly appeared quite ordinary. Kim Sun-woo admitted to himself that he didn't know much about this student, as their presence was minimal in the original novel. The 3 stood to perform the student oath, and young Kim Sun-woo felt his psychological tension increase as he noticed Yahello's sharp, burning gaze directed towards the platform. Seizing the opportunity to score some points with her, he audibly commented that it was truly a pity. She turned to him, her eyes glowing sharply, and asked if he was directing his words to her. He confirmed that he was, prompting her to sarcastically ask what exactly he found to be a pity. He pointed towards the platform and honestly stated that he believed she was better than the 2 standing there. Yahello responded with a cold look, mocking him by questioning his knowledge and asking if he had ever seen them use magic. He retreated in fear, waving his hands in denial, which led her to scold him for speaking on matters he did not understand. However, he surprised her with a calm reply, looking directly into her eyes as he claimed he could tell just by looking, which astonished her. Kim Sun-woo smiled confidently, asserting that he had a strong intuition that never missed. Yet, his expectation was shattered when her response was one of disgust, as she sharply asked if he was mocking her. He playfully denied it, which only intensified the situation. Exhaling in annoyance, Yahello turned her face away, ignoring his attempts to engage her, making him realize that his approach was failing. Deciding to change subjects, he asked her if she was worried about her career path lately. Meanwhile, the new semester began with the placement test, a tradition resembling an introductory ceremony where students revealed their true abilities before the entire school. Tension and anxiety filled the air as one student expressed extreme fear to his colleague, feeling doomed compared to the skills of others, while the other tried to calm him down. In contrast, Kim Sun-woo observed everyone with a confident smile, referring to them as cute children, all while focusing on his single goal of entering the top 10 in the second year. He based his confidence on his experiences from a previous life, where he had received offers for promotion to B-class, believing that settling for an average performance in front of these students would harm his pride. Yahello noticed the strange smile on his face and muttered her curiosity about his behavior. As he prepared to showcase his professional skills, the demonstrations began with a first-year student who released her magic with remarkable power and speed, smashing the training dummies into unrecognizable pieces. The other students were amazed, describing her skills as insane for someone her age. Next was Yahello's turn. She stepped forward confidently, igniting a ball of flame in her hand before unleashing a massive fire explosion that instantly destroyed the target amidst flying debris and flames, shocking the audience and prompting admiration. They wondered in astonishment whether she was truly the same age as them. One student remarked on the scene, noting that Yahello was considered a legend in her own right, though it was always Lee Seo-jun's presence that overshadowed her brilliance. Lee Seo-jun stepped forward and drew his sword with a blinding flash. He moved with astonishing speed between the dummies, tearing them apart with superior skill and extreme precision. The dummies fell shattered in unison amidst the cheers and amazement of the students. Kim Sun-woo glanced at Era, noticing frustration and jealousy on her face. Despite her impressive performance, he realized she felt overshadowed, consistently losing first place to Lee Seo-jun, a professional mage, which caused her ongoing frustration. Finally, the teacher called the second-year student from Class A, Kim Sun-woo. He rose with enthusiasm and a broad smile, announcing that his turn had finally arrived. The teachers wondered about his identity, having difficulty recalling him due to his weak presence in the previous year. Even his class teacher barely remembered him. One instructor reviewed the records, noting his talent for reinforcement magic, but was surprised to see him approach the stage empty-handed. The teachers speculated he might have shifted his specialization to manifestation magic, which some students occasionally did. As Kim Sun-woo stood steadily before the dummies, he began gathering blue energy in his hand. Meanwhile, the teacher muttered regretfully about students who chose interests over mastering their true talents. As they commented on his appearance, which seemed more ordinary than expected, her colleague agreed. However, they soon noticed something unusual about him. Suddenly, energy began to gather in his hand, rotating at an incredible speed, leading to astonished questions about whether he was employing the compressed manifestation technique. Shock and astonishment were evident on Era's face, as well as on that of the hero, Lee Seo-jun. The teacher could hardly believe that a second-year student was capable of employing such a high-level technique. A beam of blue energy launched with tremendous force, piercing through the air to strike the targets in front of him. Both students and teachers stood spellbound, watching the training dummies. However, instead of a final explosion, the magic faded away with a faint and comical sound, triggering waves of laughter among the students who mocked him, assuming his energy had run out and questioning the purpose of manifestation without release. Kim Sun-woo stood frozen in embarrassment, muttering to himself that he was done for, when suddenly, blue windows appeared in front of him. They kept materializing amidst his astonishment, and he screamed internally, wondering why the system had activated at such an inopportune moment. Later, Kim Sun-woo sat in his room, sighing in relief. He was surprised by the timing of the window opening. In his previous life, the system hadn't activated until much later. He pondered the reason for this difference. His thoughts drifted back to the moment of the test when messages had appeared before him. The system had announced the unlocking of interloper benefits and the full activation of the system. The main scenario had begun, and he received the achievement, Second Round of Life, along with a reward of 3,000 points, followed by a strange achievement titled Clown Talent, which granted him an additional 5,000 points. The system informed him that 232 people now remembered his face, granting him another 1,000 points while he was escaping the students' mockery. Moreover, the character Lee Seo-jun, along with 4 other main characters, showed interest in him, earning him yet another 3,000 points. Sitting on his bed, he struggled to believe he had accumulated 10,000 points in such a short time, realizing that using these points required him to unlock the interloper benefits. The benefits were a privilege unique to Kim Sun-woo as a person possessed in this world, where the achievement system had activated, allowing him to check information via Windows. He could earn points through accumulating achievements and the fame system whenever he became more known. His favorite aspect was the point shop, which allowed him to buy traits, skills, and items, a feature he considered overpowered and unfair. Despite his happiness with the points, he felt resentful about the title, Clown Talent, imagining himself in clown clothes amidst the laughter of his peers. Deciding to check his current power, he asked to open the status window. When the window appeared, it displayed his name and points, but he was shocked by his meager stats, health 42, strength 34, and mana only 21. He screamed in astonishment, questioning where all his previous investments had gone. Realizing his stats had been completely reset, he trembled in heartbreak, wondering when he would be able to raise his stats from 0 again. Suddenly, a look of realization shone in his eyes. He comprehended that he now held a golden opportunity to redistribute his points and rebuild his abilities in this life as he wished. He recalled the 4 types of magic in this world: reinforcement, manifestation, support, and summoning, noting that reinforcement magic specialized in strengthening the body and weapons for close combat, while manifestation magic was the traditional form that relied on casting spells and releasing them. Summoning and support focused on conjuring creatures and providing magical assistance. Kim Sun-woo had chosen manifestation as his specialty for a simple reason: it looked cool and attractive when used. He found himself laughing shyly at his superficial motive. Since he had chosen this path, he prioritized raising his mana stat. Suddenly, the system voice interrupted him to announce that 350 people remembered his face, granting him an additional 1,000 points as a reward. His eyes widened in surprise, wondering how the number had increased by 50 in such a short time. He realized that his foolish, clown-like behavior during the test was responsible for this rapid rise in fame, meaning the points would continue to increase, which he considered a beneficial situation. Enthusiastically, he raised his thumb, thinking it was wonderful and amazing. Before he finished his thought, a new window appeared, informing him that the number had reached 400 people, granting him another 2,000 points. This astonished him. How could more people than the entire student count at the academy know him? He quickly checked his phone and entered the Great Sage Forest community specific to the academy, where he discovered the reason. A video titled, "Crazy S-Class Mage Scandal," had spread like wildfire, attracting mockery and accusations of corruption and bribery concerning his entrance into the academy. Although he felt embarrassed by the comments, the additional 5,000 points brought a smile of satisfaction to his face. Sun Wu greedily wished for more people to watch the video to further boost his points. He focused intently on his phone, his eyes shining with greed as he planned to exploit these points to buy a specific item he aspired to obtain. The next day, Kim Sun-woo entered the academy, surrounded by whispers from students who recognized him immediately as the star of the viral video. He didn't care about their stares. Instead, he encouraged them silently to keep talking, as the view counter had surpassed 1,500 views, making his endurance of embarrassment all night worthwhile. While he recalled the comments accusing him of illness and weakness, he laughed madly in overwhelming happiness, as he had earned another 5,000 points from these insults. As he opened the classroom door, silence fell for a moment before whispers of his name began circulating again. Suddenly, a blonde student broke the atmosphere, pointing sharply and shouting, "You there?" He approached Sun Wu, rudely putting his arm around his shoulder and mocking his funny performance from the previous day, while his group laughed in the background. Another student sarcastically asked how his mana had run out so quickly, implying that his family must have bribed their way into the academy. Sun Wu immediately recognized the blonde student as Park In-yoon, the character who played the bully in the original story. Sighing in annoyance, he realized that engaging with someone like him would only bring trouble, so he tried to ignore him coldly. However, Park tightened his grip on Sun Wu's shoulder, threateningly bringing his face close and giving him the nickname Troublemaker. He ordered Sun Wu to run to him whenever he called him Suki, or else he would make his school life a living hell. Before the situation could escalate, a calm and firm voice intervened, ordering Park to stop. Everyone turned to see Lee Seo-jun standing with a stern expression, scolding the bully and reminding him of his previous warning against harassing others. Park and Won retreated, visibly annoyed, mocking the genius who tried to play the hero while sarcastically commenting that ordinary people like them had nothing to do but obey quietly. With sharp, threatening looks toward Lee Seo-jun, Park ordered his group to leave, stating, "Let's go," which left behind a tense atmosphere. As whispers circulated among the students in the hall, Lee Seo-jun turned to Kim Sun-woo, asking with concern if he was okay. Sun-woo answered briefly, thanking him. Lee Seo-jun continued the conversation to confirm Sun-woo's identity, referring to the video that had spread the previous day. Sun-woo laughed nervously, attempting to appear fine, but internally he felt severe embarrassment, questioning how he would cope with the shame of the video's widespread circulation. Noticing Sun-woo's anxiety, Lee Seo-jun reassured him, stating there was no need for excessive worry and that the blame lay with the malicious person who posted the video, not him. Just as Lee Seo-jun was about to leave, Sun-woo stopped him by calling his name. With serious intent, he surprised Lee Seo-jun with an unexpected request to join his team. Sun-woo's eyes gleamed at the thought of this golden opportunity to team up with the hero for the upcoming semester. A look of astonishment and disapproval crossed Lee Seo-jun's face as he asked, surprised, why Sun-woo would choose him. Sun-woo leaned in with a sly smile, whispering that this alliance would also be beneficial for Lee Seo-jun. Lee Seo-jun stood for a moment, hand on his chin, trying to comprehend the strange offer from Sun-woo. Eventually, he raised his hand with a diplomatic smile and apologetically informed Sun-woo that he had never considered him as a teammate. Undeterred by the rejection, Sun-woo asserted that there were two compelling reasons for Lyo-jun to ally with him. Curious, Lyo-jun smiled, allowing Sun-woo to explain. Sun-woo confidently raised his finger, outlining the first reason. He occupied the last place in the entire second year. Lee Seo-jun laughed sarcastically, questioning how this could be a convincing reason for an alliance. Sun Wu elaborated, explaining the equivalence point system in joint tests and how an alliance between the first and last placeholders would increase the team's total points. Liao Jun grasped the logic but muttered that the risk was still too high for him. At this point, Sun Wu put forth his second reason, noting that their rival, Yu-Era, had already chosen 2 low-ranking students for her team. He explained that Yu-Era specialized in large-scale attack magic, which would allow her to carry a team even with weaker members. Li Xiao-jun agreed with this assessment. Suddenly, Sun Wu raised 3 fingers, surprising Li Xiao-jun, who recalled that Sun Wu had mentioned only 2 reasons. With a broad smile, Sun Wu pointed to himself, claiming to be quite skilled for someone in last place. Li Xiao-jun burst into laughter, acknowledging that Sun Wu was a funny and interesting person. Enthusiastically, Li Xiao-jun agreed to form a team with him, while Sun Wu internally celebrated the success of his persuasive plan. Li Xiao-jun soon corrected himself, stating he had a condition, which brought confusion to Kim Sun Wu's face. The hero took Sun Wu's hand and shook it, declaring that he would choose the rest of the team members and asking if Sun Wu minded. A system window appeared, announcing that Li Xiao-jun was deeply intrigued by Sun Wu, granting him a 2,000-point reward, and Sun Wu readily agreed to the condition. The scene shifted to the lecture hall, where the teacher began explaining the origin of magic artifacts from the 14th century and how the system differed from the current 4 systems. She posed a question to the students about the reasons for the collapse of the rigid binary structure in the past. Kim Sun Wu confidently raised his hand in the middle of the hall, prepared to answer the teacher's challenging question. He accurately listed information, explaining that Halgam was the first reinforcement-type mage to appear in the 18th century, shocking medieval mages who believed in the superiority of manifestation magic. This led to a research explosion in the field, impressing the teacher, who praised his excellent answer. As Sun Wu sat quietly, he reflected that classical magical theories and complex formulas were considered difficult, even for a genius like Liao Jun. However, for him, it was different due to the advantage he possessed as an interloper. All basic information appeared to him automatically, making studying an easy task. Because of this, he felt confident in his superiority in written exams, smiling with satisfaction as he took down his notes. Sun Wu's excellence did not go unnoticed, prompting mocking whispers from students at the back, who sarcastically referred to him as Hermione, a character known for her excessive intelligence. They wondered about the point of his diligence in theoretical lessons while sitting in last place. Hearing their mockery, Sun Wu muttered in anger, daring them to raise their voices if they felt jealous rather than whispering like cowards. As the class ended, the teacher announced the start of lunch break, prompting students to rush out of the hall. While Sun Wu walked alone, a voice calling his name stopped him. Turning around in surprise, he saw Li Xiao-jun approaching with a friendly smile, inviting him to have lunch together in celebration of becoming teammates. As they searched for an empty table amidst the crowd, another student waved enthusiastically from afar, calling Li Xiao-jun over. The student was Shin Yong-jun, one of the main characters and a close friend of the protagonist. Yong-jun welcomed Li Xiao-jun, joking about his lateness, before noticing Sun Wu's presence. Sun Wu assumed Li Xiao-jun had separated from his usual group, as allying with high-ranking students would reduce team points. However, Yong-jun recognized Sun Wu's face and pointed at him in amazement, stating that he was the owner of the viral video everyone had watched. Sun Wu confirmed this with an embarrassed smile. Yong-jun then asked curiously when the two had become close. Li Xiao-jun replied that they had just agreed to team up and planned to explore the dungeon together the day after tomorrow. Looking confused, Yong-jun leaned towards Li Xiao-jun, whispering seriously to ask if he was confident about snatching first place even without the handicap buff from allying with the last placeholder, questioning why he was going through this trouble. Li Xiao-jun's expression became serious as he explained that their rival, Yu-Era, was fiercely seeking to win this time. Yong-jun was shocked to hear that Yu-Era had already included 2 low-ranking students in her team to boost her points. The 3 of them sat down to eat, where Sun Wu tried to focus on his meal, ignoring the tension. Li Xiao-jun discreetly agreed that Yu-Era had a sharp temperament. Just then, a beautiful student passed near their table and stopped. Upon noticing Sun Wu's presence and recalling that he was the person featured in the viral video from the Great Sage Forest, her friend asked what she was looking at. Xiao Yun-a became confused and quickly denied any significance to the situation with an artificial, bright smile, claiming it was nothing. However, as soon as her friend turned away, her expression shifted to one of sharp suspicion, secretly wondering how this person managed to get close to Li Xiao-jun. The scene then shifted to the training hall, where students were practicing magic. Sun Wu stood alone, concentrating on his energy. He decided to try again to control the amount of mana precisely, aiming to successfully execute both the manifestation and release stages. With intense focus, he gathered blue energy in his hand and released it powerfully, launching a stable magic projectile that hit the target successfully. Whispers spread among the students present, with some expressing surprise that Kim Sun Woo's performance was not as bad as they had expected and admitting he was better than they thought. Sun Wu wiped the sweat from his forehead, wearing a sarcastic smile and reminding himself that he could hear their comments clearly. He recalled memories from his past life about distributing points. He used to buy stats directly using the points he earned but encountered the reality that the cost of purchasing basic stats increased by 10 points for every 10 purchases. This was similar to the escalating difficulty of leveling up in games, making continued direct purchases extremely expensive. Realizing that relying solely on buying stats was not sustainable, he decided to search for traits or items that could help him raise his mana gradually. He opened the point shop and began browsing the long list for a specific trait that had appeared in the middle of the original novel. Finally, Sun Wu found his target, the trait, Nature's Protection, of grade A, which granted him a passive effect to absorb mana from nature and an active effect called Nature's Blessing, increasing mana acquisition by up to 150% depending on the surrounding environment. Its price was 50,000 points, but he did not hesitate to buy it, recognizing the strong effect it would have on accelerating his mana growth. He did not stop there. He also purchased the Returner's Watch, of grade B, an item that increased health and mana regeneration speed by 200%. To fund these expensive purchases, he had to sell the Master of Cooking trait of grade A that he had inherited in this life. Despite feeling some regret over the loss, he remained confident that his investment was worthwhile. Thanks to the combination of Nature's Protection and the Returner's Watch, his starting point in this life became much more advantageous than it had been before he turned back time. The vibration of his phone cut his train of thoughts, sparking his surprise due to the lack of anyone who calls him usually. Sun Wu opened his phone to find an invitation to join a chat group called Group 3, which included Youngjin, Tai, Li Jun, Yun Haeyang, and Shinji Hook. He looked at the names in confusion, recognizing none but Yun Haeyang. He wondered if the others were of low rank and recalled that Yun Haeyang would later become a pivotal and strong character in the story, although she had yet to realize her potential and currently played a minor role. Lee Seo-jun initiated the conversation by asking everyone to specify their main magical specialization so they could understand each other's roles. Shinji Hook responded that he specialized in support, Yun Haeyang in manifestation with the ice element, and Youngjin Tai in reinforcement. When it was Sun Wu's turn, he honestly noted that he specialized in manifestation with no specific element. Ji Hook replied with a sarcastic joke, pointing out that the entire school already knew this from the viral video. Sun Wu felt annoyed and embarrassed, pressing the phone hard as he typed a brief reply, stating he only mentioned it for informational purposes. Leaning back in his chair, he contemplated the upcoming strategy. The plan required making Lee Seo-jun the main attacker while the rest would support him. However, to secure first place, they needed to outperform Yu-era's team, which made Sun Wu curious about its members. Meanwhile, in the outdoor training ground, a student was releasing her magic with tremendous power. The teacher watched, providing critical feedback and pointing out that she focused too much on control, neglecting the release phase. She advised her to channel more power into the mana and launch it faster. At that moment, Yu-era unleashed a devastating fire spell, provoking astonishment among the other students, who described her power as insane. The teacher observed her performance with admiration, secretly acknowledging her amazing skills and innate talent. However, he noted that Yu-era, possibly due to her young age, still required refinement, as her mana usage lacked efficiency despite its power. Suddenly, the teacher turned in shock toward the source of another magical beam, which was launched with high precision and control. She saw Kim Sun Wu smiling confidently after executing his spell and commented with satisfaction that it was not bad. The teacher remembered when Kim Sun Wu had focused solely on the manifestation stage, leading to his stumbling and failures during the release stage. Despite the meager amount of mana he possessed, Sun Wu had achieved a perfect balance between control and release, overcoming the mistakes of his past life. The teacher observed his performance closely, secretly acknowledging the difficulty for a student his age to recognize and correct such flaws. She concluded the lesson by thanking the students for their efforts and announcing the end of the specialization class. The students dispersed, relieved after the intense training, while Sun Wu also decided to leave for some rest. Before he walked away, his teacher called out to him by name. Approaching with interest, she asked if he had been keeping up with his training lately. He affirmed that he trained during his spare time. She then inquired about his mana cultivation, noting that he did that regularly as well. Sun Wu immediately realized she had noticed the disparity between his technical skill and his modest mana capacity. He acknowledged her observation. The teacher smiled gently, advising him that mana accumulation required continuous effort and patience rather than tricks. Eager to improve, Sun Wu expressed his readiness to work hard, but the teacher interrupted him by extending her hand. She presented him with a small bracelet, explaining it was an auxiliary tool to help regulate mana breathing and maintain his body's condition. Sun Wu hesitated, shyly wondering if he had the right to accept such a gift. The teacher reassured him that it was merely an F-rank tool she made for training and had not cost her much. Gratefully, Sun Wu thanked her and promised to use it well as she bid him farewell. As Sun Wu walked down the corridor, he rejoiced in the unexpected loot he had received. Suddenly, he spotted Yahello leaning against the wall, staring at him with sharp eyes. Attempting to lighten the mood, he playfully asked if he was now allowed to speak to her, referencing her previous request not to talk to him. She ignored his sarcasm, directly inquiring about the truth of his joining Lee Seo-jun's team and how she knew about it. Accusing him of trying to exploit Lee Seo-jun, the first ranker, to advance his own position, she defiantly declared that first place would be hers this time, regardless of the circumstances. With a final, scornful look, she told him to be realistic before turning and walking away. Stunned by her reaction, Sun Wu pondered the reason behind her excessive sensitivity and hostility. Thursday morning arrived, and Sun Wu, panting, reached the gathering site at the forest entrance, relieved to be on time. Li Jun welcomed everyone with a bright smile, noting that it was the first time the entire team had gathered, urging them to do their best in the first semester. Excitement filled the air as everyone cheered in agreement. However, Shinji Hook looked at the team with a sarcastic smile, commenting on the odd combination of the first-place holder and the last-place holder. He then directed his taunt at Sun Wu, questioning his ability to keep up with them and reminding him of his failure to cast a single spell during the last test. Sun Wu shot him a cold glare, realizing Ji Hook was intentionally mocking him. Yong Jin Tai intervened to diffuse the tension with a light laugh, stating that since Lee Seo-jun had brought Sun Wu along, he would handle him. Kim Sun Wu glared at his teammate Shinji Hook with contempt, realizing that Hook intended to rely entirely on Lee Seo-jun for success without putting in any effort himself. At that moment, Yun Haeyong approached with a gentle smile, inquiring about Lee Seo-jun's well-being. Sun Wu thought about how far away her moment of true brilliance was in the story, which made him anxious, as the current team lineup was radically different from what it had been in the past. As the team walked together, Sun Wu's anxiety only escalated. He wondered if this test would go smoothly with the presence of these members. His thoughts were interrupted when the teacher called for attention, announcing the start of the details regarding the dungeon exploration. He explained that the class would take place in 2 shifts, morning and evening, and since it was the first day, the exploration would be limited to the first basement floor only. The teacher went on to explain the grading system that would be used for the test. He pointed out that the first criterion was the dungeon completion speed, therefore, the faster the team completed it, the more bonus points they would earn. The second criterion was rank adjustment points, which clarified Lee Seo-jun's choice of Sun Wu, as high-ranking students would earn more individual points relative to the lower ranks of their teammates. Finally, the third criterion was contribution, where the artificial dungeons would feature a unique system granting extra points based on each individual's contribution during battles. The students grew excited and cheered loudly. The teacher then instructed them to enter as teams, emphasizing the importance of safety. Meanwhile, in the monitoring room, Teacher Jang arrived a little late after admitting the students. The other teachers were gathered, waiting for Teacher Jang to start their usual bet on which team would achieve the highest grades. However, disappointment spread through the group as everyone was betting on Yu-era's team. When Jang also chose Yu-era's Group 7, the bet was effectively cancelled due to the lack of competition. Just then, the teacher who had gifted the bracelet to Sun Wu raised her hand with a confident smile, announcing that she would accept the bet and choose Group 3, led by Lee Seo-jun. Teacher Jang expressed surprise at her choice, explaining that while both Lee Seo-jun and Yu-era were leaders, the quality of low-ranking students in their teams differed. He pointed out that Lee Seo-jun's team was unstable, as Seo-jun specialized in reinforcement magic, which focused on individual combat, making it challenging to handle large numbers of enemies without strong support. Teacher Zhang then pointed to the screen, showing Yuera efficiently sweeping away enemies with her wide-range magic, already well into the middle of the first floor. Despite Zhang's analysis, the teacher remained steadfast in her opinion, insisting on her belief in the potential rebellion of the last-place team and inviting everyone to watch the results unfold. Inside the dungeon, Li Xiaojun demonstrated his strength by effortlessly slicing through a massive monster with a single sword strike. The team advanced confidently behind their capable leader. Ji Hook, impressed by Xiaojun's skill, noted cheerfully that they had already covered half the distance. He speculated sarcastically about the identity of the first floor's boss, assuming it would be a weak monster given the level. His colleague chimed in with agreement, their banter lighthearted, while Haeyong expressed concern about the potential strength of the boss. Turning to Sun Wu, she inquired about his expectations. Sun Wu, calm and confident, predicted a giant wolf would make an appearance. Ji Hook stopped abruptly, eyeing him with suspicion, and questioned how he knew that. Sun Wu simply replied that he had his own ways, secretly smirking at their disbelief, knowing he had lived through these events before. Ji Hook erupted in laughter, labeling Sun Wu a pathological liar, and continued to poke fun at him with childish antics, asking if he was upset. Li Xiaojun intervened, urging them to cease their bickering and move quickly. Reluctantly, Ji Hook agreed, but the group halted when Li Xiaojun suddenly froze and commanded everyone to stop. This unexpected order raised eyebrows and questions among the team. Xiaojun had noticed something unusual on the ground, prompting curiosity from his colleagues. As they glanced down, they found a glowing blue magic circle, confusion sweeping across their faces at its mysterious presence. Young Jin Tai voiced his concern about the potential danger of the magic circle, while Shin Ji Hook dismissed the notion that the academy would place something hazardous in their way. Cautiously, Kim Sun Wu approached the barrier, kneeling to examine it closely despite Li Xiaojun's warning. Sun Wu reassured him that he was merely investigating. Staring intently at the circle, he quickly deduced that it was not harmful but merely a simple barrier. Ji Hook, still suspicious, pondered how Sun Wu could ascertain that so easily. Sun Wu's confidence stemmed from his knowledge gained in a previous life, prompting him to place his hand on the barrier for confirmation. Shin Ji Hook, humbled, acknowledged that he, too, was aware of it. Anxiety began to ripple through the team as they questioned whether this meant they could not pass and would need to backtrack in search of an alternate route. Liu Jin stepped forward, drawing his sword and urging everyone to step back as he prepared to attempt to cut through the barrier by force. He raised his sword high, channeling a strong golden aura in anticipation of the attack. With a powerful swing, he brought the sword down, creating a deafening bang and showering sparks everywhere, leaving a visible crack in the barrier. Ji Hyuk and Haeyong cheered enthusiastically, hopeful for a successful strike. However, their hopes were dashed when the smoke cleared to reveal the barrier still intact, leaving them frustrated. Undeterred, Leo tightened his grip on the sword, convinced that a better focused strike might yield results. At that moment, Shin Ji Hook decided it was time to intervene. Feeling sarcastic about being viewed as merely a support person, he approached the circle and requested everyone to wait a moment. Placing his hand on the magic circle, he quickly realized that the task would be more challenging than he had anticipated. Estimating that traditional methods might take about 40 minutes to solve the complex formula, he resolved to expedite the process. Sun Wu then announced confidently that he would handle the situation. Ji Hook, astonished, yelled at Sun Wu, questioning what he was doing, but Sun Wu ignored him and activated his special feature, Interloper Benefits. Instantly, the magic circle began to respond to him, and digital windows appeared, interpreting the complex magic formula and analyzing it at super speed. Full information materialized before him: Korea Magic Academy, Artificial Dungeon, First Floor, Circular Barrier, Low Difficulty, Boss, Giant Wolf. A slight smile crossed Sun Wu's face as his earlier claim about the giant wolf was validated, and he grasped the barrier's mechanism completely. With a brilliant flash, the blue barrier split apart, signaling the opening of the path. The others watched in stunned silence, unable to believe their eyes. Turning to them with a confident smile, Sun Wu announced that he had succeeded. Shocked expressions overtook the faces of Li Xiaojun and Ji Hook, who marveled at how quickly he had accomplished it. A system window appeared before Sun Wu, indicating that Li Xiaojun felt amazed by him, increasing his interest level. The system declared that Li Xiaojun's interest in him had reached level 1, rewarding Sun Wu with 5,000 points. As he stood there, Sun Wu pondered the significance of this newfound interest level. A giant wolf emerged from the shadows at the top of the stairs, exuding a terrifying presence as the first floor's boss. The team members swallowed hard in fear, astonished that Kim Sun-woo's prediction had come true, as if he had foreseen the future. The wolf lunged toward them with incredible speed. However, Lee Seo-jun was ready. He leaped into the air, brandishing his sword in a flawless combat stance. With a lightning-fast movement infused with energy, he delivered a precise fatal blow, cutting through the air and striking the monster. Ascending back to the ground with steady grace, Lee Seo-jun watched as the massive body of the wolf fell behind him, ending the battle almost instantly, true to his genius reputation. Fear quickly turned to mockery as Yoon Haeong laughed, remarking that defeating the floor boss was as simple as taking down an ordinary monster. The team exited the dungeon through the gate, marking the conclusion of the test. Their teacher welcomed them and revealed the results, congratulating Group 3 for securing second place in the first week. Lee Seo-jun expressed shock and inquired about the first-place team, learning that Group 7, led by Yura, had completed the test a full 30 minutes earlier. Sun-woo noticed the bitter smile on Seo-jun's face, recognizing that Yura's team was not to be underestimated. Frustration washed over the team as they learned about Yura's impressive time of 4 hours and 11 minutes, and anxiety crept in over the slim margin separating them from third place. Lee Seo-jun placed a hand on Sun-woo's shoulder, insisting that the credit belonged to him for helping them achieve second place. Sun-woo humbly disagreed, but Seo-jun countered that without his speed and ability to break the magic barrier, they would have finished much later. While Seo-jun emphasized that he should have secured first place, Yoon Haeong objected, refusing to let their leader blame himself. Sun-woo gathered the team around him, calming their fears and reminding them that this was just the first floor of the first week, and there would still be opportunities to turn the tables. As the team prepared to leave, they heard footsteps approaching. A red-haired teacher appeared, calling out for Kim Sun-woo. He turned quickly and recognized her immediately. She was the teacher in charge of the support magic department, and she approached Sun-woo with seriousness, stating that she had an offer for him. Suddenly, she grabbed his hand with intense enthusiasm, urging him to transfer to the support department immediately. Sun-woo looked at her in astonishment and confusion, calmly pulling his hand away and coldly refusing her request. The teacher became frantic at his outright rejection without even considering her proposal, insisting that he should at least hear her offer first. With confidence, she proposed a special scholarship for talent worth 50 million won. Sun-woo, maintaining a rigid expression, replied that he was not interested at all. Ji-hyuk and the rest of the team stood in stunned silence as a fellow student questioned Sun-woo's sanity for refusing such a lucrative offer. Whispers began to circulate among the students, suggesting that he was weak in manifestation magic and that if they were in his position, they would have accepted the offer without hesitation. Sun-woo remained silent and firm in his position when Ura intervened, questioning whether he was certain he wouldn't transfer to the support department. She pointed out that special talents enjoyed numerous benefits alongside their scholarships, prompting Sun-woo to turn to her with a confident smile. He expressed his gratitude and reiterated his commitment to manifesting magic, leaving Ura confused and amazed by his determination to pursue a path where he seemed lacking in mastery. While cleaning the corridor, Sun-woo caught the attention of Seo-yun, who approached him with surprise at seeing a student doing such work. She greeted him, and he calmly responded. Enthusiastically, she called him Sunbai Kim Shin-wook, but he corrected her with a strange smile, stating that his name was Kim Sun-woo, not Shin-wook. Curious about his reasons for cleaning, he simply replied that the place was dirty, which made her eyes shine with admiration. Praising his kindness and noble morals, she called him a wonderful person before bidding him farewell with a bright smile. Once she left, Seo-yun's demeanor shifted to boredom, as she deemed his efforts pointless. Suddenly, a system window appeared before Sun-woo, announcing the completion of the Snail Bride achievement and rewarding him with 1,000 points. He smiled sarcastically, amused by how he would explain that his cleaning had an ulterior motive. Satisfied with the points, he finished his work and grabbed the bucket to leave. At that moment, a fellow student peeked at him from behind a wall, wearing a mysterious smile. The scene shifted to a lecture hall, where the teacher explained various monster types using a 3D image of a terrifying creature. He detailed the classifications, stopping at the most dangerous type, the demonized. He directed a question to the students regarding the danger these beings posed. Sun-woo raised his hand confidently, stating that demonized beings could not be distinguished from humans unless they willingly discarded their disguise or were on the verge of rampage. The teacher praised his insight, adding that these beings represented absolute evil within society, drinking human blood and controlling monsters. As the teacher discussed the difficulty of detecting demonized beings without special equipment, Sun Wu looked around suspiciously, contemplating the possibility of one hiding among them. He recalled the events of the original novel, remembering that an incident was expected to occur at the end of the week, where demonized beings would appear for the first time. It was during this incident that Lee Seo-jun would emerge as a hero, defeating the enemy despite being a student. Although Sun Wu had confidence in Seo-jun's abilities, anxiety plagued him as he imagined the shadow of the evil dragon and the need to check for nearby threats. However, he collided with the harsh reality that he needed money to accompany Lee Seo-jun on his external activities. Later, in his room, Sun Wu sat practicing meditation exercises surrounded by a glowing green aura. As he focused, system notifications informed him of a mana increase of 0.02 and an additional 0.03 due to the nature's blessing trait, which had also risen in efficiency by 12%. Opening his eyes, he felt satisfied, recognizing that his dedication to training was finally yielding results as he collected a decent amount of mana. With enthusiasm, he got up to examine a new window announcing that the rank of the nature's blessing trait had risen to rank 2. To his delight, the active effect called Nature's Heart had been unlocked. This ability increased mana recovery speed by 1000% for 1 minute, with a cooldown of 24 hours, presenting itself as a powerful tool for moments of dire need. Sun Wu smiled triumphantly, reaffirming that purchasing this trait was a wise decision. Yet, his moment of satisfaction was interrupted by a memory of the support magic teacher, who had fervently grasped his hand, pleading for him to transfer to her department. Sun Wu sighed in annoyance, recalling the enticing scholarship offer and admitting that it was indeed very appealing. When he opened his bank account, he was shocked to discover his balance amounted to only 30,800, realizing with sorrow that student life equated to perpetual financial struggle. He began to think seriously about quick ways to earn money, wondering if there were any short-term gigs he could take on. After reviewing his options, he ruled out entering dungeons and hunting monsters due to the extreme danger. Climbing towers crossed his mind, as he believed he could handle the lower levels. However, his status as a minor without a mage license made this legally impossible. Suddenly, a genius idea flashed in his mind. Meanwhile, in the faculty room, teachers spoke with admiration about a diligent student who had recently captured their attention. One teacher mentioned Kim Sun Woo from the second year, noting his early morning habit of cleaning the halls voluntarily. Another praised his active participation in class, describing his attitude as wonderful. A female teacher expressed pride in Sun Woo, recalling how a support teacher had tried to recruit him but remained confident in his loyalty to the manifestation department. Everyone agreed that it was refreshing to see such a diligent and kind student these days. Meanwhile, Sun Woo laughed maniacally in the hallway, confidently declaring himself a genius. He had just achieved the title of Student Beloved by Teachers, receiving a 2,000-point reward that filled him with ecstasy. He opened the point shop and searched for a specific item, eventually purchasing it for his maximum limit of 10,000 points. Contemplating his devious plan, he aimed to extract every possible benefit from this investment while also earning money. On Saturday morning, Sun Woo stood before a towering structure, dressed in civilian clothes and sunglasses. He approached the guard, who asked for his mage license. With confidence, he presented an ID card, introducing himself as Kim Jin Woo, a 25-year-old C-class mage. The guard scrutinized the card, which bore Sun Woo's photo but featured an older version with glasses. Suspicion crept into the guard's gaze as he looked between the card and Sun Woo, whose heart pounded with anxiety behind his sunglasses. After verifying the mage's information, the guard returned the card, confirming its validity and welcoming Sun Woo with a smile. Sun Woo breathed a sigh of relief, grateful that his cover hadn't been blown. He wiped the sweat from his forehead, admiring the forged ID card he had purchased days earlier from the point shop, which enabled him to impersonate an adult licensed mage. He recalled the moment he pressed the button in the point shop to buy the fake ID with a mage license, an expensive item costing him 10,000 points. The card had glowed as it appeared before him. It wasn't just a regular forgery. It contained a unique magical formula that made it impossible to counterfeit or detect, granting him a perfect cover. Putting on magical glasses that changed his eye color and features, he looked at himself with confidence, affirming that his disguise was flawless. He headed toward his destination while reviewing his schedule, intending to finish the tower business quickly before heading directly to the Han River, where Lee Seo-jun was scheduled to fight the monster known as the Mine. At exactly 9:30, he passed through a massive gate, and the system welcomed him as Kim Jin-woo upon his entry into the Tower of Proof. Standing on the magical teleportation platform, he noticed he could enter up to the 27th floor and selected the 10th floor, only to be warned that this floor had been cleared previously, resulting in low rewards for a reclear. Indifferent to the warning, he smiled confidently, knowing his true goal was not the ordinary rewards sought by others. The light flashed, and he transported through the gate, easily navigating the towering floors. Upon arrival at the 10th floor, which appeared in a side story of the original novel, he noted that many guilds avoided it due to its unusual difficulty and complexity. Barely taking his first steps, a huge monster with 3 glowing red eyes emerged from the darkness and pounced on him ferociously. Sun Wu was ready, firing his magic with precision and striking the monster down instantly, noting how relatively weak the creatures were in this tower. A notification for the first hunt achievement appeared, awarding him 1,000 points as he dusted off his hands. He looked around with a broad smile, understanding why many guilds avoided this tower. The monsters were weak, but the place was filled with traps and high-level magical formulas that suited his magic analysis abilities perfectly. Checking his watch, he estimated that he had enough time to clear the area before his appointment. Meanwhile, near the Han River, crowds were gathering densely, despite the absence of any festival, and Young Jun and Lee Seo-jun were amidst this throng. Young Jun suggested taking a commemorative photo, which surprised Seo-jun. Despite the hero's hesitation, his friend pulled him in for a fun selfie to document the moment. Meanwhile, inside the tower, Sun Wu eliminated another monster that dropped a shiny red magic gem. Whistling in admiration of his good luck, he picked up the gem, muttering that it would at least cover his transportation costs. Stopping in front of a seemingly ordinary wall, Sun Wu relied on his experience to sense that what he was looking for was right there. He placed his hand on a specific spot, prompting a bright light to emit and a message announcing the unlocking of the barrier-breaking expert achievement. A secret door opened in the wall, and he received an additional 2,000 points as a reward. Entering the hidden floor of the Tower of Proof, known as the Fantasy World, Sun Wu felt the dense mana of mystery surrounding him. A new notification announced the unlocking of the Secret Explorer achievement, bringing him a massive reward of 5,000 points and a broad smile as he declared he had finally found what he wanted. In the center of the secret hall, Kim Jin-woo prepared to harvest the gains unknown to anyone else. A majestic statue's booming voice filled the hall, asking if he could prove his worth among the climbers. Just as the statue finished speaking, a strong, radiant light surprised Kim Sun-woo. The scene shifted to a picturesque garden, where flower fairies fluttered about with innocent laughter. However, Sun Wu quickly recognized their true nature as sink monsters. These seemingly cute creatures were deceptive, transforming into rabid monsters the moment they spotted him. Acting quickly, Kim Sun-woo fired a magic beam, hitting one of the fairies, and gathered mana in his hand. Understanding that speed was crucial for survival, he unleashed his magic, knocking down the fairies one by one, which caused panic among the rest. Suddenly halting his attack, Kim Sun-woo approached one of the magic circles on the ground. He realized that eliminating all the fairies would not open the way for him to clear the floor. Understanding the point, he activated the interloper benefits trait, causing complex magical formulas to appear and deconstruct before him. Kim Sun-woo saw the words forming, challenging him to prove his ability to interpret the formulas, which he did with proficiency. A confident smile spread across his face as he clearly saw the solution, realizing that his uniqueness lay in decoding this formula. With a burst of magical energy, he announced his success in the test, utilizing every ability he had acquired as an interloper in this world. The system acknowledged his achievement, announcing the unlocking recognized by the Tower of Proof, along with a hefty reward of 10,000 points. Standing victorious before the statue, he received the Tower Proof trade of Dank as a special blessing. As the path opened to the hidden floor, the fantasy world, he discovered true treasures, the Red Dragon Soul, a magic book, and seeds of holy herbs. Notifications appeared, indicating a significant increase in his magic, mana recovery speed, and magic power. Kim Sun-woo celebrated happily, knowing his plan had finally succeeded, as fireworks announced his successful clearing of the hidden floor. Outside, Young-jun gazed at the fireworks, realizing that the real events were about to begin. Lee-jun stopped him to show something strange in the photo they had taken. Although they were smiling, the background concealed a terrifying secret. Young-jun looked closely as Lee-jun pointed out a man wearing a hat, his eyes radiating a familiar danger. Gasping in shock, Young Jun wondered if those eyes belonged to a demonized being. Indeed, the man in the photo was a human mind hiding among the people, with eyes betraying his beastly nature. In a dark alley, the demonized staggered and writhed in pain while the clock hands approached 9:30. The disguised Sun Wu observed the situation with extreme anxiety. The time had come, but Li Jun had not yet appeared. Sweat began to pour down his forehead as he contemplated his dilemma. This wasn't merely a side quest, it was a main event in the story, and his reckless interference could destroy the sequence of events entirely. The demonized bumped into a student on the street, who anxiously asked if he was okay. Sun Wu's eyes widened behind his glasses, surprised by the unfolding scene. In an instant, the demonized launched a brutal surprise attack, piercing the student's chest as blood gushed out, leaving him panting in pain and shock. With a powerful blow, the demonized knocked the student away amidst the horror of passers-by. The student fell hard to the ground, screaming in agony. Suddenly, a dark aura exploded from the demonized's body, tearing his clothes to reveal a muscular physique and massive demonic energy, marking his complete transformation. The monster turned towards a nearby girl, casting its terrifying shadow over her. Screams of panic erupted among the crowd, who realized they were facing a demon in a state of rampage. They began calling for help and reporting the incident immediately. Without hesitation, Sun Wu launched himself toward the monster at lightning speed, dismissing the original scenario. His priority was now saving lives, and he rushed forward with a firm determination to protect the people. Meanwhile, a Special Forces agent from the Mage Association confirmed the validity of the reports upon seeing a photo taken by the students. He recognized the dangerous red eyes of a demonized creature. Young Jun informed the agent that the target had been spotted nearby, making the agent acutely aware of the potential disaster. The area was crowded due to the festival, and such monsters grew stronger the more blood they consumed. As Liu Jun sensed a terrifying demonic energy and a massive flow of mana, the agent confirmed the battle location and sped toward it. Back at the chaotic battlefield, people were still in turmoil, concerned for their safety. Suddenly, the giant monster loomed over the panicked girl, who froze in fear, begging for mercy. As the monster raised its massive fist to strike, her screams pierced the air. Kim Sun Wu realized he had to act fast, instinctively placing a table between the girl and the impending blow. Grateful she was unharmed, the girl seized the moment and fled, leaving Sun Wu to confront the monster, which was now intent on targeting her. Quickly analyzing his opponent, Sun Wu concluded he was facing a demon of at least B rank, understanding that a direct attack would likely be suicide. Instead, he decided to channel all his mana into a single strike, aiming precisely at the monster's weak point. A powerful magic beam shot forth, hitting the monster's head and causing a resounding explosion. Sun Wu's heart sank as the creature's charred face revealed that, despite shattering half of it, he had failed to destroy the monster's brain completely. The rampaging demon pounced with destructive purple energy, forcing Sun Wu to retreat narrowly. With a tense smile, he realized he had been saving a powerful card for later, but now had no choice but to use it. Suddenly, a bright blue light emanated from his body, announcing the activation of nature's heart, significantly boosting his mana recovery speed by 1000% for 1 minute as he prepared for the decisive round. The disguised Kim Sun Wu launched at lightning speed, firing orbs of glowing blue energy. In a decisive moment, he unleashed a barrage of magical attacks at the monster, defiantly declaring that even if he couldn't kill it in 1 minute, he would at least leave it half dead. His attacks struck with precision, causing resounding explosions that shook the area. The monster stumbled back from the force of the blows while Sun Wu relentlessly continued his assault, exploiting every second. Panting, he challenged the monster to try and block his next attacks. With intense focus, he aimed a concentrated magic strike directly at the monster's head, announcing that he was targeting just that. The strike hit its mark, causing the monster to scream in pain. Sun Wu felt satisfaction, believing that if he maintained this pace, he would win. However, the blue light around him suddenly faded, and he realized with shock that the minute was up. He attempted to gather mana again but found himself helpless as the monster regained its balance, advancing towards him slowly and menacingly, its eyes glowing with malice. At that critical moment, a Special Forces agent from the Mage Association intervened, severing the demon's head. The massive head fell to the ground, and Sun Wu's pupils dilated in surprise. Agent Zhang Hunu announced that the situation was contained as he calmly approached them. The agent thanked Sun Wu for his contribution, which had facilitated the mission, and politely requested to see his mage license for verification and possible reward. Sun Wu presented his fake card confidently, leading the agent to examine it in surprise, noting that Sun Wu was rank C, despite initially assuming he was at least rank B based on his performance. Sun Wu was taken aback by the arrival of Young Jun and Lee Seo-jun at the scene and internally blamed Seo-jun for his delay. While observing them with a tense smile, Seo-jun began to feel something peculiar as he looked at the disguised Sun Wu, muttering that he felt he had seen him before. He asked if Sun Wu knew a person named Kim Sun Wu, mentioning that he was a student at the Magic Academy. Young Jun also noted the resemblance, asking if the disguised individual was a relative. Sun Wu denied knowing the name, claiming it was the first time he had heard it. The agent then intervened, instructing the students to leave and stop bothering the mage. The agent thanked Sun Wu for his assistance, emphasizing that his actions had saved many lives. Meanwhile, Seo-jun continued to stare at Sun Wu, causing him to feel tense. Sun Wu responded to the agent, saying he had only done his duty. He then bowed to the agent, expressing his gratitude for saving his life. The agent informed Sun Wu that reporters and other agents were on their way to manage the chaos that had unfolded. A system window announced Sun Wu's participation in subduing the B-rank villain Jang Han, which took him by surprise. A warning message followed, stating that a slight change in the original story had been detected, rewarding him with 5,300 points. This revelation made him anxious, prompting questions about whether he had deviated too far from the original path. His amazement grew as the system noted an increase in causality by 0.2 points. Causality points, he learned, were awarded for resolving main events, with the amount increasing based on the magnitude of the story's change. This newfound understanding ignited hope within him. Perhaps he could truly save Lee Seo-jun this time. Reaching 100 causality points would unlock the Deus Ex Machina ability, enabling him to achieve anything he wished. He was stunned by the prospect of this absolute authority and wondered if it could be his way back to his real world. Resolute, he acknowledged that hesitation was no longer an option. He needed to protect Lee Seo-jun and accumulate more causality points. Determined to intervene in the narrative, Sun Wu's thoughts were interrupted by a bank notification signaling the deposit of a 15 million reward for subduing the demon. Impressed by the efficiency of the financial procedures, he contemplated using the money to rest luxuriously rather than returning to the dorms. His eyes landed on the opulent Hanung Hotel, the exclusive destination for star mages. As he walked through the lavish lobby, he recalled that the Hanung Group was a powerful global corporation integral to the original story. At that moment, Han Se-jin, the group's vice president and main successor candidate, entered, greeted warmly by his staff. His assistant mentioned that his sister had expressed a desire to join him for dinner, surprising him. Reflecting on his sister, Han Si-yun, whom he hadn't seen in years, he agreed to the request. Meanwhile, Sun Wu sat in his luxurious room, reviewing his recent loot, mindful of the connections forming within the unfolding story. Sun Wu decided to sell the spear, deeming it too eye-catching for him to use freely. However, he chose to keep the reinforcement scroll, convinced it would prove useful later. He set his sights on selling the holy herb seeds and the 5 herbs specifically to Han Si-yun, thinking he would wait until the next day to execute his plan. As the morning sun rose, breaking news aired about a mage who had recently gained attention for clearing the hidden floor of the Tower of Proof. The report detailed how this individual, a mere Sync mage, had astounded the public by subduing a rampaging demon at Han River Park immediately after exiting the tower. The Mage Association commended Kim Jin-woo for his heroism and announced they were reviewing his rank for a potential promotion. On the streets, passers-by spoke in amazement about him fighting the demon alone amidst the chaos. Suddenly, notifications flooded Sun Wu's device, announcing the unlocking of the Little Hero achievement, expressing the gratitude of 2 million citizens for his bravery, and piquing the curiosity of numerous characters towards him. He earned 21,000 points from this single news bulletin. Seizing the moment, he decided to visit Hanung Pharmaceuticals and meet Han Si-yun now that his identity had been somewhat verified. Upon entering the company, Sun Wu caught the attention of female employees, who recognized him immediately and began whispering about his looks, remarking how he resembled the man they had seen on TV. Feeling good about his newfound fame, he walked confidently through the corridors. His moment of confidence was shattered when he suddenly spotted Jang Suji, the S-class mage known as the Sword of the Hanung family. Panic struck him as he wondered why such a powerful character was present and if he had come for him. Gathering his courage, Sun Wu introduced himself as Kim Jin-woo, offering to sell the medicinal herbs he had obtained from the tower and requesting the director's personal evaluation. Inside, Han Si-yun, the youngest daughter of the group, held the bundle of herbs and expressed her admiration for the man of the hour visiting her. However, her fascination quickly turned to the herbs themselves as she noted a lack of basic mana roots, yet sensed a strong energy emanating from them. With seriousness and curiosity in her eyes, she inquired about how he had discovered their effectiveness, confirming that while dealing with the herb would be challenging, it was undoubtedly exceptional. Kim Sun-woo spoke with confidence, explaining that he had studied medicine for a long time. He understood that the holy herb he possessed was not just an ordinary plant, but a unique medicinal ingredient with the ability to amplify the effectiveness of other ingredients, though it had no healing properties if used alone. He noted the challenge lay in finding someone capable of handling it, as its processing was extremely complex. Han Son listened intently, and while not entirely convinced, she acknowledged that handing the herb over to a genius pharmacist was the optimal solution. She then inquired if he had any specific conditions for closing the deal. Sun Wu raised 5 fingers, demanding an advanced payment of 500 million in addition to a 0.005% share in Hanung Pharmaceuticals. Son was taken aback by his bold request and laughed, pointing out that while 0.005% might seem small, he was unaware of the substantial size of their company. Sun Wu remained calm, stating that shares were more valuable than cash, emphasizing that once the holy herb was commercially launched, the company could dominate the entire pharmaceutical market. Son firmly rejected the request for shares and asked him for an alternative, explaining that ownership was a red line. Predicting this refusal, Sun Wu smiled and proposed an alternative, VIP membership to a secret underground auction, along with commissioning the company to craft potions and secure items he needed, assuring her he would cover the costs of her services. To her surprise, Sun Wu added another condition. He wanted her to act as his special messenger for executing his tasks, promising to reveal a fatal weakness of her brother, Vice President Han Se-jin, in return. Her eyes widened in shock at the bold risk of the offer. Sun Wu confronted her with the truth, noting her ambition to control the Hanung group and warning her that her indifference could lead to tearing her family apart in the future, urging her to pay careful attention. As their discussion ended, a news report lauding the heroism of Mage Kim Jin-woo played on the screen. Meanwhile, in a dark place, Baek Gang commented on the killing of Jang Han, admitting they could have prevented the incident. Baek Gang raged, smashing the table with his fist and shouting that they could have certainly saved Jang Han. His comrade attempted to calm him, reminding him that the orders to refrain from intervening had come directly from their superior. He explained that helping a rampaging comrade in front of a crowd would have exposed them all to danger and compromised their cover. Unconvinced, Baek Gang expressed his sorrow and anger, lamenting how long they would continue to live hidden in the shadows. With vengeance in his eyes, he vowed to kill Kim Jin-woo himself. His comrade inquired coldly if he was sure of that decision, warning him that Jin-woo had become very close to their special client. Baek Gang responded with mockery and confidence, questioning whether his comrade was unaware of their client's true identity and the dangers that came with it. That evening, Han Son arrived at the company headquarters, finding her brother, Sane, waiting for her outside. Sane, whom Baek Gang regarded as a monster capable of harming his own family with a smile, welcomed her with a warm yet artificial grin. Han Son remarked on the length of time since their last meeting, and they entered the car together. With feigned interest, Sane asked if her workload at the company was manageable. Han Son sighed, explaining that the job was hard and dealing with people was particularly exhausting. Sane seized on her complaint to maliciously hint that their father had been rash in giving her company shares while she was still young. Leaning in closer, he whispered a seemingly brotherly offer filled with greed, suggesting that if the burden of the shares was too heavy, she should hand them over to him. In return, he promised to appoint her as vice president once he took over the presidency. Han Son, gripping her phone tightly, muttered in anger and contempt for him to not mess with her. Meanwhile, Kim Sun-woo received a text message from Han Son, confirming her agreement to his conditions. He smiled with satisfaction, recognizing that using 2 different accounts was a smart and safe move, and concluded that meeting Han Son was the right decision, especially since she had also purchased the spear from him. He recalled their meeting, realizing that Han Son demonstrated high intelligence, enabling her to quickly verify the validity of the information he had shared regarding her brother's weakness. Just then, a new notification pinged on his phone, another message from Han Son. She confirmed she would be his messenger for 1 month and indicated that she would send the advanced payment along with the spear's price today, asking if he required anything else. Sun Woo quickly replied to Son, requesting that she craft special potions and an entry ticket to the secret underground arena. Son agreed to make the potions but noted she needed some time, promising to contact him when ready. Sun Woo mentioned that despite moving under the persona of Kim Jin-woo, demons continued to disturb him. Drawing parallels to the original novel, which also presented a path for revenge, he pondered his next move, utilizing the system's search function to identify useful traits. A list of sensing traits appeared, including killing intent detection, sixth sense, and God's eye. Sun Woo chose the killing intent detection trait of rank A, allowing him to sense any killing intent directed at him within a 500-meter range, despite its expensive cost of 50,000 points. He deemed it a necessary investment for his protection. Several days later, Sun Woo, still in disguise, met Han Yoon again. She handed him the potions he had requested, including an amplified mana elixir of rank B, which would significantly boost mana recovery but lead to severe exhaustion afterward. Han Yoon observed Sun Woo suspiciously, questioning why a skilled mage like him would need such a potion. When she inquired how he knew about her and her brother, he claimed to have verified the information through his own sources. Her expression turned serious as she realized the implications. Son recalled the troubling aspects of her brother, Han Sane, who had always harbored a dark side, and she was shocked to think he might resort to murder. She mentioned evidence of his communication with someone suspected of being a demon and asked how Sun Woo acquired such knowledge. He smiled mysteriously, internally acknowledging that it stemmed from his understanding of the original novel's plot, particularly the character Han Se-jin, who allied with a demon out of greed. Sun Woo offered to share more information in exchange for 5% of the company's shares, but Son sharply rejected his proposal, asking him to stop playing. When he inquired about the arena ticket, she informed him she had acquired one but that it was non-transferable, requiring him to enter alongside her. Sarcastically commenting on her disguise outfit, Sun Woo provoked her anger. Son then asked about his plans for the money he had earned. He stated he intended to multiply it. Misunderstanding his intent, Son accused him of gambling, warning him against squandering the money she had sent him. Sun Woo confirmed her assumption coldly, prompting her to describe him as crazy. Son threatened to end their deal after the month, prompting a system notification that displayed her disappointment and a significant drop in her interest level in him. Sun Woo, however, remained unconcerned by her anger, smiling confidently while wearing a rabbit mask. He assured himself that by the time they left the arena, he would have gained greater trust from her than what she had now lost. In the secret underground arena, the disguised Kim Sun Woo checked in, still wearing the rabbit mask. He was greeted as a VIP member, and he recognized the identity of the man before him, Hong, the S-class villain and organizer of the bloody arena. Sun Woo bowed with artificial politeness, internally commenting that Harang's presence was expected given his role. With a malicious smile hidden behind his mask, Harang wished them a pleasant time before departing. Sun Woo reminded himself to avoid getting involved with him. Walking beside Sun Woo amidst the enthusiastic crowd, Han Si-yun noticed the electric atmosphere. Sun Woo pointed out that the excessive excitement was due to the presence of the renowned fighter Yang Hongzhou. When Son inquired about him, Sun Woo explained that Yang Hongzhou was the most popular fighter currently, a mage who had held the champion title for 3 consecutive years with combat skills nearly on par with rank A, making him a formidable opponent. Son suggested they bet on Yang Hongzhou to ensure a win, but Sun Woo disagreed, explaining that because everyone would place bets on him, the profits would be minimal. Son looked at him in surprise, prompting Sun Woo to assure her that their goal was to make money, which required a different approach. Sun Woo approached the betting window and, with confidence, decided to place a substantial bet of 530 million won on Yang Hongzhou's opponent. This bold move stunned Son, and even the employee at the betting window froze in shock at the amount and the associated risk. Stuttering, Son asked Sun Woo if he was serious and inquired about the identity of the opponent he was betting on. She was taken aback to realize that Sun Woo didn't even know the name of the opponent. Later, the employee informed Harang that a guest had placed a bet of 530 million won on an unknown opponent, a rookie fighting in his first match that day. Harang wondered what kind of person would place such a bet, and the employee informed him that the bettor was wearing a rabbit mask. Remembering him as the VIP member, Harang watched the bet with interest, commenting that this amount was considered chump change for wealthy individuals and speculating whether he was merely a rich person with poor taste. Elsewhere, Baek Gang was taken aback when his comrade announced that Kim Jin-woo had appeared in the fighting arena with Han Son. A beastly smile spread across Baek Gang's face as he expressed his joy at finally locating his target. He ordered his men to prepare the car immediately. In the ring, the match ended swiftly, with a warrior crushing his opponent mercilessly, leaving Son and Sun Woo astonished as the defeated warrior surrendered. The victor coldly remarked that he should have ended the match sooner. As the announcer declared the winner amidst cheers from the crowd, angry chants erupted against the defeated warrior, who was accused of fixing the match. One spectator screamed for him to die, causing Son to watch in horror. Trembling, he commented on the brutal atmosphere in the secret arena, where mercy had no place. Despite the charged energy, there was an underlying certainty that the organizers wouldn't permit a lethal outcome within the ring. Soon, the highly anticipated match between newcomer Riang and champion Yang Hongzhou was announced, revealing a stark contrast in betting amounts. Bets on the champion reached 2.8 billion, while the rookie garnered a surprising 530 million. The announcer's voice echoed throughout the arena, highlighting the massive sum placed on the unknown rookie. Standing confidently, Kim Sun-woo realized that everyone else played it safe by betting on the champion, whereas he alone was aware of the outcome beforehand. Whispers of mockery rose among the audience about the madman who had bet all his money on a rookie, branding him a fool destined to lose everything. However, Sun-woo was unfazed by their chatter. Instead, he was calculating the substantial profits he would reap, anticipating a return of 6 times his initial bet if all went according to plan. As the two fighters entered the ring, Yang Hongzhou emerged with a muscular physique and a terrifying aura, leaving Han Son shocked by the extreme disparity in their builds. Jaein, dwarfed by Yang Hongzhou, seemed almost fragile in comparison. In an attempt to lighten the atmosphere, Sun Woo joked about Jaeyoung not having grown yet, despite perspiration forming on his forehead. Yet, his motivations went beyond mere monetary gain. He had a larger goal tied to the villainous group Gon, which held significant relevance in the unfolding narrative. As electrical energy crackled around Yang Hongzhou, he launched himself at Riang Rayong with tremendous speed, vowing to finish the bout quickly. Although Jaeyoung barely managed to evade the strike, Yang Hongzhou delivered a devastating blow that sent him flying. The audience gasped, shocked at how easily Jaeyoung appeared to be vanquished. Tension gripped the crowd, and doubts crept into Sun Woo's mind about the rookie's chances of victory. Meanwhile, outside the venue, a luxury car pulled up, revealing Baek Gang, whose eyes glinted with rage. He wanted to storm inside but knew that disrupting Haryang's event could backfire on him. He inquired about the event's duration and learned it was set to conclude at 10:30. A sinister smile spread across his face as he determined that this timing would be perfect for eliminating Kim Jin-woo. Back in the ring, the intensity of the fight escalated as Yang Hongzhou unleashed a barrage of destructive blows, his anger boiling over as he sought to crush his elusive opponent. In a surprising move, Yang Hongzhou landed a powerful kick on Jaeyoung, shouting for him to know his place and get out of his way. The blow struck Jaeyoung hard, slamming him against the wall with brutal force. The audience roared in excitement for Yang Hongzhou, urging him to finish off his opponent. Sun Woo, struggling to lift his head, widened his eyes in astonishment behind his mask, muttering incomprehensively as he grappled with the realization that reality might diverge from the narrative he had read. Yang Hongzhou stood triumphantly in the center of the ring, a victorious smile on his face, while the audience watched in amazement, questioning whether he had truly won. However, shock washed over him when a dagger suddenly pierced his body, blood gushing forth. He coughed in disbelief, staring at Jaeyoung, who was panting but seemingly unbowed despite his minor injuries. Yang Hongzhou, flabbergasted, screamed in fury and attempted to strike again. Yet, Jaeyoung was quicker, elegantly dodging the attack and unleashing a flurry of dark daggers that hit Yang Hongzhou with precision, sending him crashing to the ground. Standing over his vanquished opponent, Jaeyoung cast a cold look. An odd silence fell over the audience, followed by whispers about the substantial losses incurred by those who had bet on the champion. In the stands, Han Son watched the scene unfold in disbelief, questioning whether Yang Hongzhou had really been defeated. The silence erupted into rampant anger as the crowd began to scream and curse Yang Hongzhou, labeling him a coward and worthless. Kim Sun-woo exhaled a sigh of relief, feeling that his work was complete and it was time to leave. However, Son stopped him, asking him to wait so they could depart together. Meanwhile, in a private box, Harong observed the events closely, remarking on the suspicious coincidence of Jaeyoung's win, which he attributed to Yang Hongzhou's negligence. With a sharp gaze, he speculated that there was hidden intent behind the large bet and requested an assistant to uncover the identity of the winning bettor. In the car, Son peppered Sun Woo with intense curiosity about his true identity and how he had predicted Riang's victory. Sun Wu cryptically replied with a mysterious smile that it was merely a hunch, which only annoyed her further. Glancing at his phone, Sun Wu noted the enormous sum he had earned, considering it a monumental stroke of luck. As he opened his bank account, he discovered his balance exceeded 3 billion, and he reveled in the ecstasy of his unexpected victory. System notifications appeared, announcing the restoration of Han Son's trust in Sun Wu and highlighting her growing curiosity about him. Along with unlocking the Unrivaled Gambler achievement, an interest level was added for Han Son, and he received a reward of 7,000 points. Sun Wu felt a sense of satisfaction, viewing this as the true return on his investment in the killing intent detection trait. Suddenly, a suspicious feeling washed over him as he detected a wave of killing intent directed at him. Sun Wu turned around in shock, his heart racing as he spotted a car tailing them at breakneck speed, emitting a deadly aura. Sun Wu realized that humans always carried a dark side, evident in Min's attempt to avenge Jiang Han. Anxiously, Son questioned him about his worried expression. As he wearily observed the pursuing car, he turned to her seriously and requested an urgent favor. Suddenly, Sun Wu swerved his car, surprising the driver of the chasing vehicle. This driver quickly reported the route change to his master, Baek Gang, who ordered his driver to stop immediately, his eyes gleaming with malice. Vowing to kill Sun Wu, Baek Gang monitored his target from a distance, doubting that the frail young man could have been the one to kill Jiang Han, given his untrained appearance. Meanwhile, Sun Wu began emptying a small bottle's contents into his mouth, which Baek Gang noted produced a weak energy. After complaining about the terrible taste, Sun Wu boldly called out to his pursuer, revealing he was aware of being watched for some time. A blue aura enveloped him as he drank an amplified mana elixir of rank B, enhancing his mana recovery speed by 500% for 10 minutes, though it would lead to exhaustion later. Baek Gang was taken aback by Sun Wu's sudden surge in energy but still considered him a minimal threat. He acknowledged Sun Wu's ability to detect him and summoned fire spears in preparation for an attack. With a fierce scream, Baek Gang unleashed a barrage of flames, commanding his opponent to die. Sun Wu gathered energy in his hand, skillfully blocking the attack. Sensing the danger, Baek Gang smiled, realizing he still had 2 more chances to strike. As flames rained down on Sun Wu, his eyes widened in focus, anticipating the attack and triggering a resounding explosion. Meanwhile, Han Son sat in the car, aware that the battle had begun. Just moments earlier, Sun Wu had expressed his concerns to Son about someone tailing them, prompting her to panic. He then retrieved the bottle from his bag and confirmed her suspicions that the pursuer was indeed linked to a rival company. Urging her to head to a deserted location, Sun Wu insisted he would confront their follower. Son, anxious about his capabilities, questioned whether he could face and defeat the assailant. Sun Wu acknowledged that facing the opponent would not be easy. He warned Son that the rival's mana far exceeded rank B and questioned her confidence in his decision. With a confident smile, Sun Wu assured her of his resolve and requested her assistance. Son suddenly stopped the car, declaring her trust in his skills. In the midst of the battle, Sun Wu leaped to dodge the flying spears as Son yelled for him to return safely. He found dodging to be straightforward, recalling his experience as a reinforcement-type mage during his first year. Meanwhile, Baek Gang mocked him, believing he only knew how to evade, and decided to intensify his attack, unleashing a storm of fire spears while defiantly challenging Sun Wu. However, Sun Wu moved with unimaginable speed, astonishing Baek Gang, who noted the sharp increase in his opponent's agility. Frowning, Baek Gang displayed signs of annoyance and tension. As Sun Wu knelt on the ground, enveloped in his aura, he realized the elixir's effects would soon expire, prompting him to act swiftly. He activated the Nature's Heart effect, and a system window announced a 1000% increase in his mana recovery speed for 1 minute. Stunned, Baek Gang felt Sun Wu's energy double, signaling a significant boost in power. In an instant, Sun Wu surged toward Baek Gang, leaving a trail of blue light. Realizing the threat, Baek Gang prepared his fire spears and assumed a defensive stance to withstand the impending attack. Despite Baek Gang's relentless fire assaults, Sun Wu evaded all strikes. Frustrated but determined, Baek Gang launched another fire attack. Sun Wu, gathering blue magical energy in his hand, resolved to make no openings for Baek Gang. He boldly broke through the wall of fire, enduring the impact to reach his opponent. With intense determination, he focused all his energy to deliver a fatal blow from close range. Confused by this reckless maneuver, Baek Gang attempted to defend himself, cursing his predicament. Sun Wu, noticing he couldn't aim accurately for Baek Gang's head, seized him tightly, directing his magical energy toward his neck. He screamed that it was the end, prompting a cry of pain and shock from Baek Gang as Sun Wu unleashed his stored energy, detonating it within his opponent's body. Baek Gang was left stunned, unable to comprehend what had just occurred. Sun Wu stepped back, panting in astonishment, wondering why his opponent was still standing despite the direct hit. Baek Gang gathered the last of his strength into a fire spear, his eyes burning with malice and a desire for revenge. He raised the spear with a chilling scream that he would kill Sun Wu. Suddenly, a massive blue light split the sky, descending with destructive force and cleaving Baek Gang in two, ending his life in an instant. Relieved, Sun Wu breathed a sigh and muttered that help had finally arrived. Jang Suji, an elderly man of overwhelming prestige, emerged, carrying a huge sword. As the sword of the Hanung family and an S-class mage, Jang Suji stood coldly over the corpse of his enemy. Sun Wu recalled that this man, known as the Sword Demon, was one of the strongest characters in the original novel, capable of killing a rank A opponent like Baek Gang with a single blow. With suppressed anger, Jang Suji boldly questioned how a lowly demon dared to think of touching the youngest daughter of the Hanung family. Meanwhile, Han Son anxiously called out to Sun Wu as she ran towards him to check on his condition. He reassured her that he was unharmed, noting that their plan to stall until support arrived had succeeded. Son looked at Jang Suji with a confident smile, justifying her decision to summon him by explaining she needed the strongest person to ensure their survival. System notifications appeared, announcing the death of B-rank villain Baek Gang, the discovery of a slight story change that increased causality by 0.6, and the restoration of Han Son's trust, along with a 1,000-point reward. Sun Wu felt great satisfaction as he took in the rewards displayed on the screen. Jang Suji then turned to Son, asking if the chairman should be informed of what had transpired. Realizing the gravity of the situation, given the demon attack was no small matter, Sun Wu urged her not to report it. He reasoned that spreading news of a Hanung group member being attacked by a demon could create unnecessary problems. He explained seriously that revealing the truth now would lead to chaos and confirmed to himself that it was unnecessary to further disrupt the original story. Han Son agreed with Sun Wu, noting that spreading the information would complicate matters significantly. She then turned to Jang Suji, asking him to keep the incident a secret between them. Suji responded obediently, confirming his understanding. 3 days later, Sun Wu lay in his room, recalling the events of the Baek Gang incident, during which Han Son had offered him any information he needed as a reward for his protection. He had requested the release schedule of the holy herb potion developed by Hanung Pharmaceuticals, which was expected to send the company's shares skyrocketing due to the foresight of its genius director, Han Son. Sun Wu focused intently on his phone, having invested all his wealth in Hanung shares in anticipation of this moment. The clock read 8:59, with just a minute left until the market opened. When the clock struck 9, the stock index surged, and Sun Wu couldn't contain his excitement as he screamed in joy. As his profits doubled before his eyes, he bitterly reflected on how he had been unable to buy a house in his previous life despite years spent grinding dungeons and slaying monsters. The ease of earning money struck him as a contradictory reality that tasted sour. His thoughts were interrupted by a notification from Han Son, inviting him to lunch the next day and mentioning a gift. Surprised by the latter, he arrived at the cafe to find her already waiting, justifying her early arrival as a habit. As they discussed the stock rise and her excitement over the profits, she guessed he had made around 50 million. Sun Wu, however, shocked her by revealing that he had earned 3 billion in just one day. She smiled, considering it a small token of appreciation. Gratefully, Sun Wu thanked her and directly inquired about the promised gift. In response, Han Son placed a photo on the table, disclosing her knowledge of the identity of the Majin who had attacked them previously. His name was Baek Gang, a notorious hitman posing as a human. She revealed that her investigations had uncovered a frequent associate of Baek Gang, her older brother, Han Se-jin. Sun Wu contemplated this revelation, aware of Han Se-jin's dealings with demons but surprised to learn Baek Gang was among them. He feigned indifference, remarking that the information was intriguing but did not qualify as a gift. Han Son described Sun Wu as calculating, despite their mutual life-saving efforts. Finally, she presented him with a small box, explaining that this was the real gift, an expression of her anticipation for future collaboration. Sun Wu asked anxiously if something was wrong, considering Han Son's request to meet amid her busy schedule. Han Son stood to leave, concluding that since her brother Han Se-jin was connected to Baek Gang, it was evident who was behind the attack on her. With a sharp look, she confirmed that she couldn't live with any debts, whether of gratitude or revenge. As she walked away, Sun Woo realized the gravity of the situation. Her belief that Han Se-jin had sent Baek Gang to kill her was a complete misunderstanding. He contemplated how Han Se-jin was ultimately a villain and would become an obstacle for Han Yun's. Thus, he convinced himself that using Han Yun's to entrap her brother Han Se-jin was, in fact, a good idea. Son interrupted his thoughts by calling him Mr. Kim Jin-woo, which left him confused. She smiled as she handed him the gift, hoping he would like it, confirming that she had chosen it herself. Sun Woo thanked her with a polite smile and opened the box to discover a shiny silver bracelet. An info window appeared, revealing it was a mana alloy bracelet of rank B, durable and saturated with mana, boasting an SS durability rating. Sun Woo's eyes sparkled with happiness, as this was precisely what he needed. Suddenly, an unexpected system window appeared, announcing that the character Hong felt curious about him, rewarding him with 1,500 points, which astonished him. The scene shifted to a dimly lit luxurious office, where Harang sat reviewing some papers. Another man, dressed in a long coat, entered and greeted Harang formally. Bowing respectfully, the man noted that nearly 10 years had passed, prompting Harang to ask Cheon Hai if this concerned the 10 Demonic Council. Cheon Hai confirmed this but paused to inquire about an incident a few days earlier involving his close friend Jang Han and Baek Gang, both of whom had been killed. Assuming Harang was aware of it, Cheon Hai produced a photograph of Kim Jin-woo, emphasizing that a certain human mage was involved in both incidents. With sharp eyes, he noted that investigations conducted by Baek Gang before his death confirmed that this mage had recently visited the Colosseum's secret arena. Cheon Hai directed his question to Harang, asking if he had heard the name Kim Jin-woo, presenting another photo of Sun Woo wearing a rabbit mask, revealing that Harang recognized him as the same VIP member who had bet on Jaeung. Cheon Hai asked Harang for information on Jin-woo, expressing his intention to offer his blood as a sacrifice for his deceased comrades. Suddenly, a dark and terrifying aura erupted from Harang, saturating the room with pressure and dread, causing Cheon Hai to fall to his knees, gasping for breath. Harang warned him sternly, his eyes glowing red, that if he even contemplated touching his client, he should be prepared to face dire consequences. Trembling in fear, Cheon Hai begged for mercy, swearing he would not harm Kim Jin-woo. Harang calmed slightly and requested that he deliver the message from the 10 Demon Council. Nervously, Cheon Hai recited the message, sweating as he informed Harang that a new prophecy had emerged from the prophet's altar. This prophecy foretold that a child destined to exterminate demons would awaken their power upon turning 18, and that the Demon King would soon meet his end at the hands of this child. Meanwhile, Sun Woo contemplated the bracelet and magic scroll in his room, deciding he needed to suspend his activities as Kim Jin-woo for the time being. The system notification reappeared, reminding him of Harang's curiosity and the point reward. Coldly, he decided that it was not yet time to involve himself with Harang. Grabbing the magic scroll, he confirmed to himself the necessity of focusing on more pressing matters. As he examined the magic scroll, he recognized it as a rank B spell shield scroll, capable of deploying a barrier to block a single spell, with a cooldown lasting 12 hours. Realizing the significance of this item with the midterm exams approaching, a critical time when tensions heightened within the academy, Sun Woo understood that these exams were not just important for his own career path, but also crucial for Liao Jun. The true significance lay in the impending appearance of the Child of Prophecy, a being imbued with the power to annihilate demons and destined to be a future ally to Lee Seo-jun. However, danger loomed as demons sought to hunt this child before they awakened, led by a formidable demoness. According to the original story, the demons would invade the school at exactly 4 p.m., unleashing chaos throughout the academy. The incident was supposed to culminate in their extermination at the hands of Lee Seo-jun, which would align with the natural flow of events. Sun Woo pondered this seriously, recognizing that although this chapter of the story was brief, it was filled with fateful hints. He decided it was crucial to closely observe the Child of Prophecy this time, not just Lee Seo-jun. In the training grounds, the instructor stood before the students, announcing the schedule for the following week and adding that he had an important additional announcement. Complaints arose from the students, who requested a break due to the exhausting nature of the upcoming exams. Some joked by asking the teacher to share stories about his first love. The instructor laughed heartily, affirming that combat is training, and training is combat. He declared that all second-year students would participate in free sparring sessions over the next few days in preparation for the midterm exams. As the teacher explained that students who could not find a partner were free to observe or train alone, Sun Woo began to assess the situation around him. Competitive spirit gleamed in Lee Seo-jun's eyes, eager to prove himself this time, while Era regarded him with a similar intensity. Sun Woo felt a wave of relief, expecting the two to pair up like in the original story, and he was glad he hadn't made the first move. However, he soon found himself standing alone in the arena as everyone formed their teams, embarrassment creeping in as no one came forward to partner with him. He reassured himself that it was only natural. Despite his theoretical talent and ability to dispel barriers, no one wanted to team up with the school's last placeholder. His focus shifted to a heated battle nearby, where Lee Seo-jun took a heavy hit that caused him to stagger. Wiping the sweat from his brow with a tense smile, Seo-jun remarked that it had been close and he nearly met his end. Opposite him stood Era, enveloped in a fierce, fiery aura, sharply challenging him, declaring that first place would be hers from now on. Seo-jun, grinning confidently, warned her not to get ahead of events as he began to gather energy for his counterattack. The two charged at each other in a fierce clash, Seo-jun exclaiming that he wasn't done warming up yet. From a distant balcony, Yoon Haeong watched the thrilling scene unfold, wondering in astonishment if these two were truly Lee Seo-jun and Era. The powers of the first and second-ranked students in the school collided, resulting in a massive explosion of energy and light. Observing this, Yoon Haeong looked at her hand, which emitted a faint coldness, trying to convince herself not to feel affected. However, she secretly admitted that comparing herself to these true geniuses only fostered self-pity. She recalled conversations among students where one suggested her as a training partner, highlighting her rank of 82. However, his colleague immediately rejected the idea, arguing that despite her extensive theoretical knowledge, her practical application was lacking. Standing alone, sadness etched on her face, a teacher noted her situation with sympathy, lamenting how some students struggled when their physical talent did not match their intelligence, yet he remarked that at least she was kind. Breathing heavily and exhibiting signs of exhaustion, Yoon Haeong faced the training dummy, feeling frustrated after her last failed attempt. Fragile ice shards fell to the ground, scattering uselessly upon hitting the wooden target, again proving her magic's lack of solidity and focus. Clenching her fists tightly, she inwardly screamed, questioning why her continuous efforts yielded no results. Her thoughts were interrupted by a calm voice critiquing the fragility of her ice manifestation. Shocked, she turned to see Kim Sun-woo standing behind her, serious in demeanor. Sun-woo did not hold back, approaching her and continuing his harsh criticism. He pointed out that her ice wasn't cold enough and her precision was terrible, demonstrating that her fundamentals were weak in every aspect. As she listened in shock and embarrassment, Sun-woo recognized that this was his way of taking responsibility for his actions. In the original story, thanks to Lee Seo-jun's advice during a prior dungeon exploration, Yoon Haeong was supposed to evolve and reach rank 6 by this time. However, due to his interference, she had missed that opportunity, halting her growth and filling him with guilt towards his comrades. Determined to help her grow, Sun-woo coldly stated that she was a complete mess at that moment, but if she followed him, he would ensure she could at least carry her weight in the team. He reassured himself that he needed to assist her, even if it required this tough approach. Yoon Haeong did not accept his words, angrily accusing him of being that type of person, interpreting his behavior as an attack on her self-esteem since he lacked the skills to validate his statement. Sun-woo responded with a provocative smile, questioning whether her reaction was genuine or merely a tantrum stemming from her inability to refute his comments. Yoon Haeong furrowed her brows in anger, feeling that his words hit a sensitive nerve, and pushed his shoulder sharply, expressing her disappointment. She had believed him to be a decent person during their dungeon exploration, but now felt utterly mistaken. Anxious, Sun-woo wondered if he had pressured her too much and attempted to apologize, stuttering that perhaps he had gone a bit too far, but she sharply interrupted him. Magical energy glowed around her body as she announced her determination to settle the matter with a fight first, challenging him to see how cool the school's last placeholder was. Sun-woo's eyes shone with happiness, for she had swallowed the bait exactly as he planned, and he accepted the challenge, enthusiastically, asking her to attack. Sun-woo laughed confidently as ice shards launched towards him, evading them effortlessly. Haeong, serious and focused, announced the start of the fight. Sun-woo gracefully dodged her attacks, observing that her manifestation density changed when she got serious. He acknowledged her skill but criticized her attack pattern as too simple, reminding her that the power of ice magic lay in its utility and variety. Provoked, she challenged him to witness a different technique and summoned a massive ice spear, defiantly exclaiming, "How about this?" Sun Wu looked up in astonishment as the spear crashed down, creating a massive ice explosion that forced him to jump away. Haeyong, shocked by her own sudden command of a technique she had struggled to master, stood in disbelief. The towering ice wall bore witness to her newfound power. Sun Wu, having landed safely on the wall, realized that she needed the right motivation to unlock her potential and felt satisfaction in provoking her. From his perch on the ice pillar, Sun Wu noted Haeyong's anger, deducing that she didn't want to be his partner. As he rushed towards her, he explained the weakness of mages specialized in manifestation, how closing the distance made it easier to take them down. With lightning speed, he blocked her ice attack while she attempted to retreat in panic. Just as he reached her, he halted his attack, declaring the match's end with a calm smile. Shocked, Haeyong fell to the ground, unable to process her defeat. Admitting her loss, she acknowledged the need to learn magic from him. Sun Wu extended his hand gently, reassuring her that she lacked neither talent nor ability but needed direction. He offered to help and asked if she wanted to embark on this journey with him. Remembering his words about unleashing her talent, she took his hand firmly, agreeing to trust him. A system message indicated that Yun Haeyong's interest in him had increased and her favorability had risen to level 1 as she requested him to teach her well. Later, during their training, Sun Wu presented a small ice crystal, explaining that their focus would be on attribute adaptation training. He emphasized that understanding one's own magical attribute was essential for effective manifestation and demonstration of magic. Sun Wu emphasized seriously that without mastering the basics, Haeyong's skills wouldn't evolve regardless of how hard she trained. Haeyong, sounding nervous, admitted she knew theoretically what adaptation training entailed but was apprehensive about his method. Suddenly, she found herself buried under a massive pile of ice in the hall, trembling from the biting cold and screaming that she had never encountered a training method like this before. Sun Wu, laughing with a demonic smile, explained that physically experiencing the attribute was the fastest way to learn, urging her to adapt quickly before the ice melted. In a dark, oppressive setting, Cheon Hai inquired if everyone had gathered, receiving an affirmative response from his followers. A group of demons knelt before him, confirming they had assembled active demons around the Magic Academy as ordered. Cheon Hai announced that the time to find the Child of Prophecy and infiltrate the school was set for the following week. One follower explained that intelligence from a collaborator inside the school indicated that security would be lax during the midterm exam period. As a demon smiled maliciously, anticipating their plan's success, a female follower interrupted, expressing concern over Lord Hong's absence. Cheon Hai, angered, recalled Hong's claim of focusing on a more critical matter for their race. The follower expressed deep concern about the feasibility of killing the Child of Prophecy with only 4 B-rank demons. Another follower mocked her, questioning if they truly needed assistance to eliminate one child, while she countered that lacking security wasn't the only concern, wondering sarcastically how he would handle the influx of scouts from across the guilds. Cheon Hai acknowledged the validity of her points but, with a malicious smile, noted that their approach would drastically change if they managed to detain potential interferences. Suddenly, a massive violet energy began to coalesce around them, creating a gigantic barrier isolating the area, known as the Great Demon Barrier. Standing proudly within the barrier, Cheon Hai granted them permission to attack and destroy as they pleased, confirming his support but emphasizing their ultimate objective, killing the Child of Prophecy. Meanwhile, inside the academy, Sun Wu continued training Haeyong, directing her to focus first on the attribute and then on its form. He urged her to memorize the sensation throughout her body, enabling her to visualize the ice even in his absence. At that moment, a perfect ice spear formed in her hand. Haeyong stared at the spear in astonishment, overwhelmed by joy as she declared that she had created an ice spear through her own power. Sun Wu smiled with pride, pointing out that her remarkable improvement in just a few days of training validated his belief in her talent. A system window popped up, announcing that Yun Haeyong's trust in him had increased significantly, awarding her 1,500 points. She cheered enthusiastically, addressing him as Teacher Kim Sun Wu and declaring her intent to believe everything he said moving forward. However, Haeyong's enthusiasm quickly turned to suffering as she found herself buried to her neck in ice. Sun Wu asked coldly if the situation was bearable. Trying to appear strong, she urged him to add more ice, but her flushed face and shivering exposed her pain. Sun Wu encouraged her to endure a little longer, assuring her that this was all for her growth. As Haeyong trembled from the cold, Sun Woo watched her seriously, promising himself to make her stronger so she could assist the hero in the future. Meanwhile, a student named Seo Yun observed the scene from the upper balcony in shock. Horrified, she wondered what was happening and questioned whether this could be considered bullying. From her perspective, it resembled excessive school violence that demanded immediate reporting. Before she could act, teacher Lee Hae-young appeared behind her, calmly noting that witnessing talented students grow was a beautiful sight. Panicking, Seo Yun pointed down to explain to the teacher, but Lee Hae-young interrupted, assuring her that she was aware of the situation and that it was a tribute adaptation training. Stunned, Seo Yun asked if this was indeed training, to which the teacher confirmed she had been observing them since day one. Lee Hae-young explained that Hae-young's rapid development of her mana manifestation was remarkable. However, she added that the true surprise was the judgment displayed by the student who quickly understood the problem and guided his friend to resolve it. In disbelief, Seo Yun asked if she was referring to Sun Woo, to which the teacher was surprised that she knew him. Seo Yun, confused, denied any personal knowledge, while the teacher whispered that she assumed Seo Yun had only memorized the names of top students. The teacher advised Seo Yun to memorize Sun Woo's name, describing him as a talented individual with great potential. Despite Seo Yun reminding her that he currently ranked last, citing that people only care about final results rather than skill development, the teacher suggested giving him a chance to prove himself. She smiled confidently, expressing her anticipation for the upcoming midterm exams. Meanwhile, Sun Woo suddenly halted in front of the system screen, muttering that it was over. He was staring at a special discount advertisement for a space-time pocket, a sub-pocket capable of storing up to 30 kilograms, available at a 50% discount for a limited time. Recognizing his urgent need for the item, which could summon stored items anywhere and was especially useful for concealing weapons, Sun Woo felt the weight of his situation. However, the discounted price of 20,000 points was far beyond his current 8,500 points. Overwhelmed, he collapsed, lamenting why discounts always appeared when he lacked points. After regaining his composure, he calculated that he needed to collect 11,500 points within 5 days and began to think of guaranteed ways to achieve that. Just then, his phone rang with a notification from teacher Lee Hae-young, summoning him to the faculty office. Upon his arrival, he found 3 fellow students, Era, Park In-hwan, and himself. The teacher welcomed them, announcing their selection for the Manifestation System Special Class for second-year students, an advanced class acknowledging high potential irrespective of grades. Sun Woo noted that Lee Seo-jun was in the Reinforcement System Special Class, which meant he would have more opportunities to interact with him. However, Park In-hwan raised an objection to Sun Woo's inclusion in the special class, angrily questioning the fairness of placing someone ranked 5th alongside a student in last place. Turning to Era, he implored her to voice her opinion, but she coldly stated it was not her concern and that everyone should mind their own business. In-hwan trembled with rage and embarrassment, muttering about having no friends. When the teacher asked Sun Woo for his thoughts on the objection, he confidently smiled and stated that if ranking was the issue, he would simply raise it. The teacher accepted his challenge, asking him to demonstrate his skills in the midterm exam before joining the class. The scene shifted to the Coliseum arena where Sun Woo and Yoon Hae-young walked together. She expressed astonishment at the possibility of reaching rank 80 or higher, to which Sun Woo assured her that sticking to their plan made it entirely feasible. She promised to follow his instructions as they prepared for the midterm exam, a cooperative battle requiring partners to fight against the summoned creature, the Green Giant. Sun Woo explained the creature could be defeated by targeting weak points represented by shifting purple crystals, though their locations would be challenging to identify. Sun Woo noted that most students achieve good grades merely by enduring enemy attacks, but he clarified that only true geniuses manage to eliminate monsters entirely. As the battle began, he instructed Hae-young to create a path, which she immediately agreed to do. With a powerful release of her ice magic, Hae-young froze the ground in front of them. Sun Woo skated quickly on the ice just as the Green Giant charged toward them. Meanwhile, some observing students mocked him, recalling his previous humiliation and speculating whether he would suffer from mana depletion again. Suddenly, a system window announced that 254 people felt anticipation toward him, awarding him 1,000 points. As Sun Woo recognized that everyone expected him to fail, the interloper benefits activated, clearly highlighting the purple weak points on the giant's body. Jumping into the air, Sun Woo's eyes radiated energy. Determined not to play the fool this time, he launched a barrage of precise, fast magic beams toward the giant, hitting his targets accurately despite the creature's advanced technique. Kim Sun-woo, looking at his hands still glowing with magical energy, wore a satisfied smile, thinking things had gone better than anticipated. This moment of relief was short-lived, however, as terror struck when he caught sight of Cheon-hai, the mastermind of the attack and demon leader, coldly checking his watch amidst the audience. As Sun-woo launched his final magic attack to defeat the green giant, his mind raced with the implications of the demon leader's presence. According to the original story, demons were supposed to invade the school at exactly 4 p.m., right after the exams, leading to chaos and destruction. Suddenly, Yoon Ha-young's panicked voice broke through his thoughts, warning him to watch out. The green giant raised its massive club and brought it down with terrifying force towards the distracted Sun-woo, sending him flying from the impact. Haeyoung quickly used an ice spell to slow the monster and rushed to him, shaking his shoulder vigorously while urging him to regain his focus for the battle. The giant, relentless, charged at them again with the intention to crush. With only moments to spare, Sun-woo regained his focus and shouted at the monster to get lost while gathering massive magical energy in his hand. He unleashed a concentrated, destructive magic beam that pierced through the giant's body, obliterating it completely. The astonished audience erupted with comments during the live stream, struggling to believe that this was the same student who had ranked last. Some praised his true combat prowess, while others intelligently analyzed how he had utilized the condensed manifestation technique to strike the monster's weak point with remarkable precision, acknowledging that what had transpired was not merely luck. In the stands, a strong student observed with interest, noting with admiration that this student appeared vastly capable, defying the rumors surrounding him. Cheers erupted from the crowd in the Coliseum as everyone marveled at the match that had exceeded all expectations, also praising the impressive skills of Haeyoung, who fought alongside Sun-woo. Overwhelmed with happiness, Haeyoung jumped and hugged Sun-woo tightly, exclaiming that they had succeeded, while he remained in shock, responding to her absent-mindedly. Suddenly, system windows appeared, announcing that 582 people recognized his face, rewarding him with thousands of points. Among those watching were prominent figures like Kim Deok-hyun and Park In-hwan, who felt humiliated by the turn of events. However, Sun-woo dismissed their reactions, focusing instead on more pressing matters. As he glanced at the large wall clock in the arena and noted it was nearly noon, his fears were confirmed when he spotted Cheon-hai quietly leaving the stands, signaling that events had veered drastically from the original storyline. Anxiety consumed Sun-woo as he questioned whether his actions had altered the original course of events. He was acutely aware that any changes might jeopardize the outcome of saving the school. As the scoreboard displayed the results, Lyo Jun and Yu Era's team in first place, and his own team finishing a close second, Yoon Haeyoung noticed Sun-woo's pale face and heavy sweating. Concerned, she asked if he was all right. Sun-woo quickly reassured her with a smile, claiming fatigue was the issue. He suggested he would rest in the training hall to review his notes, while she began to blame herself for any mistake she thought might have caused his distress. Interjecting gently, Sun-woo urged her to trust her own abilities and looked directly into her eyes, stating, "Honestly, you were perfect today." Flushed by the compliment, Haeyoung thanked him shyly. After bidding her farewell, he encouraged her to rest and not worry about training if she felt tired. Once she was out of sight, his smile faded, replaced by a serious expression as he pondered how the altered timeline would unfold. As he scrutinized the arena, he told himself he needed to determine how far events had deviated from the original story. He murmured that a significant occurrence should unfold now. In that moment, he spotted Lee Seo-jun amidst throngs of guild representatives vying for his attention. The Northwest Guild representative pleaded passionately for him to join, while a representative from Heimdall insisted he wouldn't budge until Seo-jun agreed. Amid overlapping voices, one female employee professed her love, while another offered a luxury apartment and incentives for joining Sigma Guild, boldly labeling him as King Seo-jun. Seo-jun, sporting a tense smile, politely explained that he was only 18 years old and not eligible to join any guild yet. Despite his protests, the representatives continued to press their business cards upon him. Nearby, some scouts observed this chaotic scenario, one remarking to his colleague that they had abandoned their watch of the third-year exams to witness Lyo Jun's appeal. At that moment, another voice called out for Kim Sun-woo, mentioning that Mr. Jang Enkal sought him to discuss his grades. The scouts turned their attention to Sun-woo, and whispers spread about the student in last place, though they recognized his stable performance and promising growth trajectory. Noting Sun Wu's intent, Seo Jun seized the chance to escape the crowd, apologizing as he hurried away, promising to consider their offers later. The scouts, frustrated by his departure, decided to return to monitoring the other third-year exams. On a different note, Jang Hyun-soo, an agent from the Anti-Terrorism Special Forces, inquired of his commander about Lee Seo-jun's fighting skills, seeking his assessment on the young fighter's abilities. Commander Kim Deok-hyun responded calmly to Jang Hyun-soo's questions about Lee Seo-jun's performance, stating it wasn't bad. Hyun-soo recalled that Seo-jun's skills were in line with those expected from the third disciple of the formidable chairman Kim Jinch. However, the commander quickly amended his evaluation, observing that Seo-jun remained inexperienced in real combat. Hyun-soo joked about the commander assessing him like a member of the Special Forces, reminding him they were merely there to extend a recruitment offer for after graduation. The commander urged him to be quiet and questioned why he had accompanied him. Hyun-soo, wearing a cheerful smile, expressed regret for not being able to chat during the Han River Demon incident. The commander sighed, reflecting on experience, and suggested that if Seo-jun had been the one confronting the demon back then, he might have gained the practical experience he lacked. The conversation shifted as the commander asked for Hyun-soo's thoughts on Kim Sun-woo, the student who finished last, praising his impressive combat sense that seemed uncharacteristic of a student at the bottom of the rankings. The commander analyzed Sun-woo's abilities, emphasizing that his skill was more than instinct. It stemmed from a natural talent for identifying targets' weaknesses. He noted seriously that such an ability could only be honed through extensive experience. He connected Lee Seo-jun to the enigmatic mage Kim Jin-woo, present during the river incident, and muttered in astonishment about the young man's proficiency in the compressed manifestation technique. In that moment, Hyun-soo resolved to remember Kim Sun-woo's name. Meanwhile, in a quiet corner, Seo-jun and Sun-woo sat on the stairs. Seo-jun expressed gratitude to Sun-woo, admitting he could have been stranded without his help. Curious, he asked Sun-woo why he wanted to return to the crowd. Sun-woo explained that he aimed to get an early glimpse of the upcoming exam they would face next year. Seo-jun voiced concerns about being cornered by scouts again. Sun-woo reassured him that the scouts had moved to the teachers' reserved seats and wouldn't encounter them, considering they had entered through a separate entrance. As Sun-woo observed Seo-jun thoughtfully, he realized his colleague did not wish to be labeled as the top student. Seo-jun concurred, suggesting they remain discreet as spectators to avoid detection. While watching the arena, Sun-woo reflected on how the timeline had indeed shifted. He recalled his past life when a demon attack began at the third-year exam site, knowing it was easy for them to coordinate with an internal mole for their plans. Kim Sun-woo watched the unfolding situation cautiously, recognizing he needed to keep Lyo-jun contained in the exam hall while he sought out Cheon-hai himself. He looked at Seo-jun beside him, convinced this was the quickest and safest way to protect the child of prophecy. Seo-jun asked Sun-woo if anything had happened after his exam. When Seo-jun inquired whether he meant the scouts, Sun-woo smiled reassuringly, stating that it was fine and that such occurrences were common. He felt relieved, believing the original plot remained intact without the influence of his actions so far. The duel in the arena marked the official beginning of the exams. Outside, a disguised figure observed the scouts entering the third-year exam hall, confirming that the information aligned with the internal mole's report. Cheon-hai coldly questioned the progress of their plan, to which his assistant revealed a hidden bag among the bushes, confirming that monster summoning circles had been placed throughout the school as ordered. She mentioned that the monstrous Jinsen had been secluded to prevent chaos upon seeing humans. Cheon-hai praised his follower, Yong-hyun, and held a glowing energy orb, announcing that the time had come to hunt the child of prophecy. Suddenly, a bolt of magical energy struck the arena floor, causing panic among the students as a female student screamed in pain. Park Min-hee announced her immediate surrender due to the threat, leading the referee to declare Kim Chong-hun the victor of the match. Seo-jun cheered enthusiastically, expressing his enjoyment of the third-year exam and praising the exemplary skills of both Kim Chong-hyun and Park Min-hee. Meanwhile, Sun-woo scanned the crowd anxiously but found no sign of Cheon-hai, raising his suspicions. Noticing Sun-woo's unease, Seo-jun asked whom he was searching for. Sun-woo quickly claimed he was merely checking for any guilds interested in recruiting him, prompting Seo-jun to laugh and assure him he would receive an offer. As Sun-woo reflected on Seo-jun's significant growth since the semester start, Seo-jun curiously asked about the type of training Sun-woo had undergone. Panic erupted among students as they questioned the sudden barrier's appearance and demanded teachers be summoned. Confusion filled the air when the hidden bag outside began to glow ominously, opening to release dark energy and generate black portals. Hordes of monsters and goblins poured from the portals. Suddenly, a sharp red flash cut through the air, startling him. To his astonishment, two men in formal suits appeared. Kim Deacon, wielding a massive red spear, and Jang Hyun-soo, brandishing a sword. They swiftly exterminated the surrounding monsters, proudly announcing the arrival of the special forces. A wave of astonishment and relief swept through the students outside the barrier, who cheered at the unexpected rescue. The special forces had initially come to observe Lee Seo-jun's match, but now formed an impenetrable line of defense against the monster threat. Kim Sun-woo, observing the scene, deduced that team leader Kim Deacon led this force, while a teacher reassured Lee Seo-jun that they would join him as soon as the barrier was lifted, urging him not to be afraid. Sun-woo felt hopeful, believing the special forces might turn the tide in their favor. However, he soon pondered the towering purple barrier encasing the school, realizing that removing it remained a critical challenge. Both of them tried to break the barrier, but it was useless, and everyone was relieved. But Out-guy understood his assignment and took the main character from the crowd, and the lady teacher were still busy and the demon girl pretended to help her. While keeping her busy, the teacher sensed something was wrong. Chan realized the super teacher got some stamina with a different plan. He raised his finger as the force were fighting the monsters. Suddenly the goblins became out of control and began riding different direction. The officers noticed the trouble as the goblin tried to attack the girl. A spear suddenly killed the goblin, smashing it to the floor. The officer arrived, telling everyone to rest assured. The girl thanked him, got saving her life, and they began defending them and got distracted. Both of the officers look at each other and rush towards the monsters to cheat their existence. The girl, still wearing a friendly face, thanked them, but her intention were dark. Both of our guys were checking the barrier, and Leo told him what was he checking. He told him that he was checking that if they could break it. Letting a relieved sigh out. Guy listened to him and told him to hold to his plan. Main character's eyes widened and sick as he heard the plan, but eventually he agreed. Our boy tried creating a magic circle. Suddenly a system notification aired, and on the barrier started depleting. The demon girl was shocked to see the barrier vanish. Cheon couldn't believe his eyes, as his barrier magic was of top level. Wiping his hands, he did his job, exclaiming him to stay safe. He thanked him with a slight smile. He turned towards the child of prophecy. Cheon was frustrated, thinking what has happened to his barrier. Both of the girls stood in shock, and everyone was ready with their magic for a fight. Kim Deok-hyun launched his long spear, piercing through the monster ranks with incredible speed and power. Jang Cole decimated goblins with crushing blows, demonstrating combat skills of an entirely different caliber. Meanwhile, Teacher Li Hui-yang unleashed destructive thunderbolts that took down another group of monsters. Teacher Jang Un-call praised the precision of her attacks, while she returned the compliment, acknowledging the power behind his strikes. Moments later, the area was cleared of monsters, prompting the teachers to thank the special forces for their timely assistance in resolving the situation. The commander humbly responded, stating it was their honor to help. In the midst of the square, Jang Hyunu pointed out that the mastermind behind the attack could still be hiding, urging the need to regroup and search for him. However, teacher Kim Yoon-jin angrily asserted she knew nothing about the mastermind, but a certain individual aroused her suspicion. With a sudden movement, she forcefully grabbed the collar of Mage Yang-hyun, demanding to know what she was really doing when she claimed to be breaking the barrier. Despite teacher Jang En-call's attempts to intervene, Yoon-jin screamed accusations, warning that Yang might be a demon. Her claims shocked many, especially since Yang-hyun had seemingly helped lift the barrier. Whispers among the students condemned Yoon-jin's harsh behavior towards someone who offered assistance. Commander Kim Deok-hyun observed the situation quietly with his deputy. When asked if they should intervene, he replied calmly, "Not yet." Yang-hyun smirked, exploiting the moment by claiming she had to slow down to match Yoon-jin's terrible skills, which only fueled Yoon-jin's anger. Suddenly, Lee Seo-jun intervened, confirming Yoon-jin's observation and explaining that every attempt to break the barrier made it stronger instead. Students turned to Seo-jun in astonishment, realizing he was supposed to be at the third-year exam site. When Yoon-jin demanded to know how he knew that, he replied seriously that he sensed something was wrong with the barrier's composition. Realizing he was revealing too much, Seo-jun justified his knowledge of magical barriers, but doubt began to creep in among the attendees. Some students suggested checking the records for an A-rank support mage named Yang Hyun. An employee quickly accessed the records via his phone, and his expression shifted to one of shock. Yang Hyun, sensing her cover was blown, muttered a curse while mentally communicating with her master, Cheon Hai, asking what to do next. He coldly instructed her to take necessary actions, as a dark aura began to emanate from his body, exposing his true nature. Commander Kim Deacon immediately recognized Cheon Hai as the demon leader and shouted for his men to arrest him, launching a powerful spear attack. However, Cheon Hai evaded the strike, prompting the Special Forces deputy to comment anxiously that they faced an A-rank demon. Yang Hyun then decided to execute her backup plan, targeting Lee Seo-jun with murderous intent, transforming into a massive muscular monster. But our guy quickly gave her reality check and the officer was still angry and the huge gaunt laid on the ground while the female teacher took care of other monsters and the officer and our guy faced each other placing a hand of his shoulder. He showed his gratitude with a cool look. He turned away but Out Boy was busy elsewhere who was stuffing with something. A huge explosion occurred. His face showed worries. Looks like he got cooked. And on the other side Yua was protecting the girl while another demon was fighting them. He mocked them calling them weak while the other girl was horrified recalling the past incident how she used her ice spell. Yua used her fire magic, igniting a fireball but the demon rushed tears the fireball preparing a rank of his own. He pushed her stack away and leaped towards her grabbing her but her neck. Hebe was not to lose her consciousness but suddenly a ice work struck the demon. It was the other girl. Finally sued some courage. He threw Yua and prepared to launch a magic attack. The girl closed her eyes in fear but fit the last time she gathered her courage and accumulated her mana. The attack pierced thought the demon. He couldn't bribe what a little girl did to him. She had used up her mana and felt unconscious to the floor. He smiled in pain while holding his severed arm. He was about yo attack the girl but our guy steps in proposing a offer to get him killed instead.